Brothers is not.
Random, congratulations, you are first.
But yeah, so another interesting traffic stop.
Hi there. Are you okay?
Yeah, Dad. Yes,
How
sir.
you doing?
All right. So right here, you walk up on this. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking he has blue eyes, for starters. 100%. Ocular vision.
I asked that, I think, the other day on the Uncle Rico show because of MJ Klein. I was asking, like, how that works. And the guys all made it seem like I was an idiot for asking that. But, like,
No.
I don't. It's just, like, especially this guy. That eye is really in there. Like,
yeah, it really is.
That's even worse than MJ Klein. It's like, I don't know. If I was a cop and I looked at that, I might be like, well, now I get why he's
Frank
driving.
Tufano eyes.
Right.
But it gets better.
Do you know where you are right now?
East Coast Drive.
Okay, that's not where you are. Have you drank any alcohol today?
No, sir.
Go ahead and step out.
Okay.
I have any. Did he
I
piss
think you
himself?
went your
Oh, dude.
Oh my God!
The
It did look
worst.
like you pissed.
Well, he did. He definitely did.
Oh God, you are so right, man. You picked that up quick. I guess you've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen it before. Ask me how many times I've seen that before. I'd be like, all right, everything's code for here. Let's call this guy a taxi. I'm gonna go to lunch. We'll see you later.
Holy shit, you noticed that? Like,
I think you went yourself.
oh, she noticed it too.
Yes, sir. He said yes, sir.
Wow. This is called the balance test as he's falling over.
Go ahead and stand up for me, okay? We're going to perform what's called a balance test. Okay? You're going to tilt your head back, close your eyes, and hold that position for 30
They don't want him to
seconds.
fall and bonk his head. Unlike that one we watched on the Asp channel the other night, by the way. Holy crap. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. The one I'm talking about?
I don't know how people get that fucked up in the middle of the day and then go driving. I don't like Turkey Tom. Thought him getting all chummy and friendly with vegangains only to stab him in the back and make a hit piece about him was incredibly dickless. Well, I don't know if I'd call that a hit piece, and we collaborated on it. Like, I knew what the video was going to be like, so he didn't stab me in the back at all.
Well, the anti-war president and winner of the inaugural FIFA Peace Prize, or whatever they're calling it, says it might be time for the United States to go to war for oil. You might remember, of course, that Donald Trump said he is really the only person who would keep us out of new wars. You might remember that Donald Trump was, at least retroactively, very critical of George W. Bush's decision to go into Iraq in 2003. And you might remember all sorts of different ways, probably dozens, in which this becomes a complete and total contradiction of everything Donald Trump told us that he stood for. But regardless, Donald Trump, before getting on his plane just hours ago, telling us that when it comes to Venezuela, things were taken away from us, getting land, oil rights, everything we had, and that we want it back. The most direct, clear, and arguably bloodthirsty statement so far about what Trump is cooking up with regard to Venezuela. Let's take a look.
Yeah, what was that?
Getting land, oil rights, whatever we had. They took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching, but they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out, and we want it back.
You know, in some sense, it's wild to see a president just come out and say he might like to wage a war for oil. And the reason I say that in general is that we're supposed to hide that. We expect presidents to hide if that's really the motivation. We're supposed to say it's about democracy or it's about human rights or whatever. But in a sense, if Trump is simply being honest, well, I welcome that. And now we can criticize the idea because Donald Trump said that the United States will stay out of new conflicts and get out of existing ones if he becomes the president of the United States. But there's another layer to this. I don't know that this is really the reason Trump wants to go after Venezuela. Maybe it is. But I want to propose to you that there's a possibility that this is actually about regime change and this is about getting Nicolas Maduro out. I would respect Trump a lot more if the reason that he wants to go to war with Venezuela is not about oil, but about getting Nicolas Maduro out. I would respect him more if he just said it. Now, I wouldn't support it, as terrible as I think Nicolas Maduro is, and you all know that I was not a Chavez guy either. I don't support the United States doing regime change in Latin America. I, as an Argentinian, know a little bit about the history of the United States getting involved in Latin American regime change to know it's a terrible idea. It doesn't work out well. Putting in puppet leaders for the United States as part of the removal, even of bad leaders, rarely works out well. But from the standpoint of just honesty, if Trump came out and said, hey, you know what? I'm sick of this Maduro guy. He's a disaster. And it's not even really about the Venezuelan people. It's just I don't like the guy and I want to be a bigger and stronger boy. And I'm going to get him out. At least he would be honest if that's the case. Now, it is, of course, possible that the real reason Trump wants to do this is the oil, in which case I go back to the anti-war president, the winner of the inaugural FIFA Peace Prize, is going to start a new war, especially for oil.
Yes, Mr. No New Wars. Let's go to war for oil. Literally, everyone with any sense knows he's just full of shit, but yeah, people actually believed him.
Trump's press secretary Caroline Leavitt just made news by tweeting, quote, I have just been informed that the highly respected board of the Kennedy Center, some of the most successful people from all parts of the world, have just voted unanimously to rename the Kennedy Center to the Trump Kennedy Center because of the unbelievable work President Trump has done over the last year in saving the building, not only from the standpoint of its reconstruction, but also financially and its reputation.
Dodo Donatillers, I made that hot and sour soup recipe that we reacted to the other day. It was just all right. I had a sweet potato with it too. Okay. My favorite type of soup is lentil or yellow split pea soup. You can't get better than lentil or yellow split pea. I like nice, thick, hearty soups. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo.
Spec King of Trump, did you hear the big news he announced today?
Good evening, America. 11 months ago, I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it. When I took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years.
Okay, we'll react to that a bit later, I think. But thanks for the donation, Dodo. I know he did do that addressed to the nation. Freeze Noiteller's most delusional girl on Instagram.
Pretty makes going out in public so fucking intimidating. And guys make it so obvious too.
She's not pretty.
Like, I hear you. Like, I literally hear what you're whispering to your friends, and I see you all fucking staring at me. And then also,
no one is looking at this girl.
Like, this guy literally tried to, like, walk into me to, like, get my... I'm like, oh my fucking God. And this...
Jeez.
Pretty, and I know I'm pretty, and that makes people so fucking mad. I made a video saying that going out in public is stressful sometimes because everyone's looking at you, and like guys will do things to get your attention, and especially now that I have a following, people are like talking about me, or then they'll come up to me. Like, it's just a different experience than it used.
Literally nobody's giving her attention.
I've been called spoiled brat, and I always used to be like, oh my god, no, don't call me. No, honestly, yeah, I am a fucking brat because I get everything I want when I want it. And why would you not want?
Okay, thanks for the donation, dude.
You like nice thick hard? Did you enjoy being woken up to your favorite words last night?
It's great. Thanks for the donation, dude.
Have you ever owned guinea pigs?
No, I have never owned guinea pigs. Thanks for the donation, Pooh.
Years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans. This happened during a Democrat administration, and it's when we first began hearing the word affordability. Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people, many who came from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. They were drug dealers, gang members, and even 11,888 murderers, more than 50% of whom killed more than one person. This is what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country, and it can never be allowed to happen again. We had men playing in women's...
And the feminists love to say that men have big egos.
Yeah, right. Cope, thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Sports, transgender for everybody, crime at record levels, with law enforcement and words such as that just absolutely forbidden. We had the worst trade deals ever made, and our country was laughed at from all over the world, but they're not laughing anymore. Over the past 11 months, we have brought more positive change to Washington than any administration in American history. There's never been anything like it, and I think most would agree. I was elected in a landslide, winning the popular vote.
Wandering Mason, $20 is this Aaron P.
Are you ready, kids? Aye, aye, Captain. I can't hear you. Aye, aye, Captain. Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants, absorbent and yellow and porous as he. SpongeBob SquarePants, if nautical nonsense be something you wish. SpongeBob SquarePants, and drop on the deck and flop like a fish. SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob. I think it just goes to SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. The toy that came with, because they were supposed to.
If reincarnation is real, I really hope I don't ever end up becoming a person like this. For so many reasons. But that is not Aaron P. Thanks for the donation, Wandering Mason.
Hey VG, I did 385 and it flew. Then my friend convinced me to attempt 405 and I failed. I feel like I misgrooved it. I felt the bar pattern shift. Am I strong enough?
How in the fuck did you fail right there at the lockout? That is bizarre. Yeah, you're strong enough to do it. Just wait till next week. Just do it again next week. You'll be fine. Thanks for the donation, though, Killing Titan. Just make sure you get some good sleep, eat some good food, and all that. But you're strong enough to do it. Like there's no way you wouldn't be able to just lock that out if you don't misgroove it. Thanks for the donation, dude.
My god, 2 whole minutes and Trump's entire speech has been nothing but him bitching about shit none cares about. Teddy Kunster's woke.
Well, I mean, he is a dumbass. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
and all 7 swing states and everything else with a mandate to take on a sick and corrupt system that really just took the wealth from people and crushed the dreams of the American people. For the last 4 years, the United States was ruled by politicians who fought only for insiders, illegal aliens.
Ghost on Each Other's is doing these pickup line cold approaches on women in public a good idea for men who want to find a long-term relationship. Who cares?
Girl, and I'd say, have we fucked before? I'm just kidding. Hi, nice to meet you. And that emotion arises inside of them like, who the fuck?
No one is going to respond positively to that.
Is this guy? And you might say it doesn't work, but it always works.
Excuse me. Have we fucked before? I'm just kidding.
Oh, sorry, what was that? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said have we fucked before, but I'm just kidding.
What?
What's your name?
My name's Zania.
Zania?
Yes.
Where's
Zania.
that from?
It's named after a flower.
Oh.
This is either fake or just straight luck. That is not going to work like 99% of the time. But who the fuck cares? Thanks for the donation, Ghost.
Career criminals, corporate lobbyists, prisoners, terrorists, and above all, foreign nations, which took advantage of us at levels never seen before. They flooded your cities and towns with illegal aliens. They decimated your hard-earned savings. They indoctrinated your children with hate for America. They just released a level of violent felons that we had never seen to prey on innocent. They caused war. They caused mayhem. They caused a horrible situation all over the globe. But now you have a president who fights for the law-abiding, hardworking people of our country, the ones who make this nation run, who make this nation work. And after just 1 year, we have achieved more than anyone could have imagined. Starting on day one, I took immediate action to stop the invasion of our southern border. For the past 7 months, 0 illegal aliens have been allowed into our country, a feat which everyone said was absolutely impossible. Do you remember when Joe Biden said that he needed Congress to pass legislation to help close the border?
What does he mean by that? Like, he says 0 illegal aliens are allowed to enter the country. That's always been the case. Like, and there are still illegal border crossings. Like, does he just mean illegal border crossings have reduced? Do you think 3i Atlas is aliens? I don't know what that is.
He was always blaming Congress and everyone else. As it turned out, we didn't need legislation. We just needed a new president. We inherited the worst border anywhere in the world, and we quickly turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country. In other words, in a few short months, we went from worst to best. We're deporting criminals, restoring safety to our most dangerous cities. Just take a look at Washington, D.C. It's at levels of safety that we've never seen before. And they decimated the bloodthirsty foreign drug cartels. We did that all by ourselves with our people, and we're so proud of it because they were poisoning and destroying our population. Drugs brought in by ocean and by sea are now...
5 donated $2. This poor goat herd was outside in the brutal PA winter with just a tiny little open hut. My country goats spend most of the winter days in barns. Notice farmers in the U.S. keep animals outside the whole winters. Goats need to be milk like cows or they can have health issues. The goat milk hasn't been in stock since before Japan trip. Yeah, yeah, like we all knew he wasn't going to take care of him properly. Why do you think Frank continues to mispronounce the word women? He pronounces it like singular woman every time. Is he engagement baiting? Is it somehow related to misogyny, self-hatred, being gay, whatever? Thanks for the donation, dude.
Trump, if by ached more than we could ever imagine you mean cased this country to go backwards, then yes.
That is correct. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
down 94%. We have broken the grip of sinister woke radicals in our schools, and control over those schools is back now in the hands of our great and loving states where education belongs. After rebuilding the United States military in my first term, and with the addition we are adding right now, we have the most powerful military anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, and ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in 3,000 years peace to the Middle East, and secured the release of the hostages, both living and dead. Here at home, we're bringing our economy back from the brink of ruin. The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never seen before. I am bringing those high prices down, and bringing them down very fast. Let's look at the facts. Under the Biden administration, car
Wow,
prices...
Dodo, I didn't know you were a shithead retard blue-haired liberal faggot dude. Shut the fuck up.
All right, thanks for the donation, dude. I'm noticing food isn't on this list. Sporting event tickets. Gasoline, I could maybe kind of believe. New and used cars, no shot. That is absolute bullshit. Like, the only way this is possible that used car prices have gone down is because of the reduction in used electric car prices. Also, considering this is coming from the White House, don't know how reputable a source that is now.
Rose 22%, and in many states, 30% or more. Gasoline rose 30 to 50%. Hotel rates rose 37%. Airfares rose 31%. Now, under our leadership, they are all coming down, and coming down fast. Democrat politicians also sent the cost of groceries soaring, but we are solving that too.
Sorry, what? Okay, this is just fabricated. This is entirely fabricated. Egg prices? Have you been into a grocery store, buddy?
Price of a Thanksgiving turkey was down 33% compared to the Biden last year. The price of eggs is down 82% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly. And it's not done yet, but boy, are we making progress. Nobody can believe what's going on. Here are just some of the...
He must have really gotten a whiff that people are getting upset with him. This is crazy.
Efforts that we have underway, you will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of record-setting falling incomes, our policies are boosting take-home pay at a
real wage losses? Like, this is just like he's making it up.
Historic pace. Under Biden, real wages plummeted by $3,000. Under Trump, the typical factory
and if by
worker...
putting education back in schools, Trump, you mean forcing the Bible in schools to indoctrinate children as well as censoring big parts of history like the Holocaust, then yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
We're seeing a wage increase of $1,300. For construction workers, it's $1,800. For miners, we're bringing back clean, beautiful coal. It's $3,300. And for the first time in years, wages are rising much faster than inflation. Remember that. The wages, just look at it. Wages are going up much faster than inflation. How big is that?
Dude, drinking water is banned in Diamond Gym and you get punished for it. Watch that.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Everybody to the hill.
What?
Hill, everybody.
I'll hit the fucking hill all day. Fuck you. Rules are simple. They keep fucking breaking.
Yeah, you can't drink water in their gym.
Huh?
Wait, so you're telling me I can't even quench my thirst? Fam.
It is just so outrageously fucking retarded in that gym. Just so fucking beyond stupid. And then because somebody drank water, everyone, no matter what they're doing, has to go out and run up and down the hill. Why would you ever go to this gym? Like, it's so fucking retarded. Like, do they also have no bathroom breaks? You're just supposed to shit your pants? Like, it's so fucking dumb. Thanks for the donation, though, Unicorn Jizz.
Donald Trump in the...
It's outrageously stupid.
Very importantly, there are more people.
Dodo, donate $2. Let me see. Imagine sitting next to this dumb bitch. Fuck that chick. Soy-infused weak incel. Nick Fuentes sells America out to Islam.
Robinson, you want Muslims out, you want Indians in? Fuck you. What's the difference? For anybody other than Jews. Tommy Robinson.
Buddy, if you can't tell the difference between Muslims and Indians, I don't know what to fucking tell you.
Who has never met an unsucked Jewish cock he hasn't fallen in love with. Tommy Robinson, forgive me for the vulgarity, he goes out and says, oh.
Who the fuck knows? I don't know why Nick does shit. People are looking at them because they're dressed like weirdo ninjas and they're like the power of the hijab. Like, you can still see their tits, especially this chick. It's like, what the fuck? I remember I was on the subway once and there was a chick in a full like kneecap, so, you know, the full body covering and everything, but she was so fucking curvy and sexy. Like, it just wasn't covering anything up. She had just such a sexy body. I was so fucking turned on. Australian police ram a car with 5 Islamists traveling to Bondi Beach. Seems like they had info that another attack might have been imminent. Wow, really? Dude. Oh, not all Muslims.
Jeffrey's just a normal guy, and Jessica's just a normal girl. Unfortunately, that means they are addicted to all of the bad habits of the modern world. Vapes, porn, hookups, degenerate music, scrolling. They don't even realize these things are bad for them until it's too late. And when they do realize these habits are bad, they just can't quit. Every single day they notice their screen time is far too high. They start the day adamant that they will eat clean, but by nighttime they binge eat. Jeffrey says he won't relapse again, but he does. And then again, and again, and again. Jessica says she won't go back to him, but she does, and again, and again, and again. They can't trust themselves to hold their own promises, and because of that, they struggle in making money, forming good relationships, and being happy. Adonis is the ultimate man, a kind but strong tribe leader, masculine but friendly, sexy and funny. But he wasn't always like this. Just like you, in his younger years, Adonis too suffered from insecurities and weaknesses. But through his daily discipline, he was able to make progress and build himself into a man he respects and the best woman of his tribe is attracted to. I hear all the time.
Great.
Will we watch Turkey Tom's new video? Also, why do you live together with another dude, you faggot? Also, is your debate from yesterday uploaded somewhere? Also, fuck scammers.
My debate from yesterday should be on the Finding Gnosis YouTube channel. And yeah, what the fuck does it say in the title, dipshit? So we're watching the fucking Turkey Tom video on Clav. It's literally in the title. Don't know why you're asking me such a stupid question. Oh, I'm not watching that. Thanks for the donation, Elias. I can't be fucked to watch Tyler Oliveira. That guy's just a lying fuckwit.
People working today than at any time in American history, and 100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector. Think of that. 100% of all jobs have been in the private sector rather than government, which is the only way to make a country powerful and great. This historic trend will continue. Already, I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs.
My god, this Inita Trump speech is just him attacking Biden for 18 minutes.
This reeks of him knowing the public is very dissatisfied with him, and he's going on a narcissistic rant and lying. None of this was my fault. It was Joe Biden's fault, and also I fixed everything. There you go. Thanks for the donation there, Dodo.
Jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs, and that's why they're coming home.
Dude, how the fuck did this poor bastard get fired and disowned by his family over this? He even gets constant death threats because he was convicted of sexual assault for this. WTF is going on?
Yeah, I know, it's stupid. Yeah, it's just crazy. Society is just cuck, dude. That's all there is to it. Look, if women want to act like this and make false accusations and whine and cry and make up bullshit for attention, then just leave women behind. They can be alone. They can be left out of, like, every job. They can be left out of male society, and then, you know, like, that's what they want, right? They're asking for it. So just don't fuck with women anymore. Just move on. Go your own way. You know, hentai exists, so what do you need women for? Thanks for the donation, though, Gumdrop. Dodo $2. Let's not forget that according to Hamza, John Venus is Adonis. Yeah, I know. And who would want John Venus's life? By the way, has John Venus uploaded anything? Is Destiny in Discord? Doubt it. I don't know if I don't think Destiny's in Discord. I don't know if John Venus uploaded anything. Did we? Somebody told me Frank uploaded some new content. I might take a look at that. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. So the tariff thing, I just learned this. Somebody from Norway was telling me about this. Norway had an issue with food imports, and local companies there were kind of complaining that there was like market competition from foreign goods, and it was putting stress on like farmers and stuff. So Norway imposed a bunch of tariffs on foreign food goods to incentivize people buying local. Well, guess what happened? All the local food producers raised their prices because all the foreign goods are at an increased price. So what are you going to do, right? Like, oh, well, if they're selling it for a higher price and people are still buying them, we'll just sell our shit for a higher price so that we make more money. So them making those tariffs, all it did was just drive up prices. So, like, you would expect the same thing to happen with this. Like, if American-made products are cheaper and the foreign-made products are more expensive, well, why would anybody sell American products for a cheaper price when they could sell it for a higher price? They don't even have to match the price of foreign goods. They could just arbitrarily increase the cost where it's still cheaper, but it's more expensive than it was before. So people basically have no option but to pay for the more, like, the same, more expensive thing. Like, it's stupid. It's just dumb. There's other issues with the tariffs too. Let's say the tariffs are so effective that like people only buy American products. So like only American cars are viable. So people are only buying from GM, Chevrolet, shit like that. Well, what that ends up doing is because there's no market competition, only like you only have the domestic market. Well, then they don't have to improve on their cars. Like there's no other, big companies to deal with. They don't have to give better value. They don't have to improve technology. They don't have to like lower costs or anything. They can just churn out shit because that's the only viable product. So like tariffs don't really fix anything. At least not necessarily. And there's really like no historical precedent for tariffs blanketly improving anything. White Knight donated $2. How can you defend that, Coach, if the lips kiss wasn't consensual, though? Who the fuck cares? Big fucking deal. He was excited. Like, why does that need anything more than a simple apology? Why do we need to ruin someone's entire life when, at worst, they did something a little stupid, and upset somebody just because they got excited and, like, it's just fucking stupid. Thanks for the donation, White Knight.
VG is afraid of destiny now because every time he goes in his server he always quickly yells at him to get out and they'll talk another time and he always does that, so VG is scared of him now, and you saw last time he talked to him VG was mellow and shy.
No, but thanks for the donation, Dodo.
When you stop reacting and start observing, everything will make sense. Keep audio on.
Cat figured it out. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Home to the USA in record numbers. They're building factories and plants at levels we haven't seen. AI, automobiles. We're doing what nobody thought was even possible, not even remotely possible. There has never, frankly, been anything like it. 1 year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country.
Who was the Norwegian who told you that? Was it Norwegian? I wouldn't trust him, dude. He's a liar. We all know how he was willing to lie on behalf of his dumb bitch girlfriend because he wanted to cope for her consensually having sex with 50 years/oh sugar daddy.
No, that's not who I was talking to. Thanks for the donation, stupid.
Anywhere in the world. And that's said by every single leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months. Next year, you will also see the results of the largest tax cuts in American history that were really accomplished through our great, big, beautiful bill, perhaps the most sweeping legislation.
They're not even tax cuts. So, like the top, like 1% of wealthy people basically have tax cuts. Everyone else has gotten tax increases. The poorest families are paying more tax.
Ever passed in Congress. We wrapped 12 different bills up into one beautiful bill. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Under these cuts, many families will be saving between $11,000 and $20,000 a year, and next spring is projected to be the largest tax refund season of all time. Because of tariffs, along with the just passed One Big Beautiful Bill, tonight I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas, a Warrior Dividend. In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way. Nobody understood that one until about 30 minutes ago. We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, and the bill helped us along. Nobody deserves it more than our military, and I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, We now have record enlistment in our military, and last year we had among
Like we all know this is bullshit. He's gonna add to the debt like crazy again.
the worst recruitment numbers in our military's history. What a difference a year makes. In addition, I'm doing what no politician.
Watch this anime nigga. Also stop hating on my nigga Trump. He just signed the big beautiful bill, and once we get all the effects, America will become great again, nigga.
Yeah, sure.
Watching Kill la Kill for the plot.
I've already watched Kill la Kill. Kill la Kill's sexy as fuck. Man, I love those like crazy retarded schoolgirl outfits. My god. They're just great. Yeah, super fucking hot. Yeah, I really like Kill la Kill. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo.
Of either party has ever done, standing up to the special interest to dramatically reduce the price of prescription drugs. I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades, to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%. In other words, your drug...
Richard, stop. You're scaring the animals, dude. Jake doesn't like that. That you were so lazy and irresponsible. You deadbeat. You didn't help me pay for his bills. I had to give him away. Our family is ruined because of you. Everyone is gone.
Costs will be plummeting downward, and I used the threat of tariffs to get foreign countries who would never have done it to pay the cost of this giant dollar reduction. They stopped ripping us off, and it began as of 4 days ago. There has never been anything like this in the history of our country. Drugs have only gone up, but now they'll be going down by numbers never conceived possible. It's called Most Favored.
Yeah, Great Teacher Onizuka is one of the best animes ever. Great Teacher Onizuka is fucking incredible.
Nation, and no president has ever had the courage or ability to get this done until now. The first of these unprecedented price reductions will be available starting in January through a new website, TrumpRx.gov. And these big price cuts will greatly reduce the cost of health care. I'm also taking on the gigantic health insurance companies that have gotten rich on billions of dollars of money that should go directly to the people. The money should go to the people. That's you. So they can buy their own health insurance, which will give far better benefits at much lower cost. It will be far better health insurance. The current Unaffordable Care Act was created to make insurance companies rich. It was bad.
Son Goku to Natelers, they really need to make VR hentai. Well, they already have that. Oh, there's tons of VR hentai games on Steam. Where you can fuck your favorite anime waifu, no strings attached. Yeah, they already have that. There's a guy with a website who has, I think it's partly open sourced, but you can basically import whatever anime character you want into the game and have sex with them. When technology becomes advanced enough so to where such a thing is possible, bye-bye OnlyFans whores. Are you talking about, like, you're just talking about, like, a game, right? Like, they already have a game like that. It'll be great once we have, like, full dive VR where you're basically in the Matrix. That'll be just... Why would you ever leave, you know? Thanks for the thanks for the donation, Son Goku.
Haven't seen Finn in a while. What happened to him?
Well, that's a very stupid question for several reasons, but the biggest one would be he's dead. Thanks for the donation, Axel.
Kid is unironically a modern hero and a national treasure.
Jesus Christ.
Is there anything you do that people wouldn't know about for looks maxing?
I like to do a lot of injection lipolysis. So to dick max, I'll inject fat dissolvers into my mons pubis. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that's probably not the most autistic thing that I've done.
I haven't really heard great things about any of those fat dissolver peptides, or whatever the fuck they are. Some of them can actually cause, like, permanent scarring and bruising. And I know some of them are, like, directly nephrotoxic as well. And I've never seen anybody get great results with them either. It's not like a liposuction where you just remove fat from a certain spot, so they're not really worth it. Like, if you wanted to take drugs to lose weight or get rid of fat, like GLP-1 agonists, retatrutide in particular is number one, and then there's medications that have been, out forever. T3, T4, what's it called? Why am I forgetting the name? Jason Genova used to take it like crazy because he could never stick to a diet. Why can't I remember what the fuck it is? Fat weight loss. What do they call it? Clenbuterol. And growth hormone actually, like, at least for me, I've noticed it does make a difference for fat loss. I would say it gives you like a 10% boost for fat loss, and it makes it particularly hard to put on fat. But yeah, those like fat dissolver things where you can inject a particular area, like I've never seen great results with them.
I've tried something where I did PDO threads, which is like a dissolvable collagen thread to create volume. Like med spas will do it to fix under eyes. So I tried to put them into my dick. And
into the act.
Yeah, we already saw this clip. Thanks for the donation though, Curry.
Just to comment on that coach thing. It was obviously because he was excited they just won the World Cup. He sure as fuck didn't kiss her because she was hot. She was some ugly bitch looking for attention, and all the white knight loser men gave it to her.
She saw an opportunity to get money. That's all it is. Get money, get attention. That's all it is. And again, all something like that requires is a simple apology. Like, it's just not a big fucking deal. Thanks for the donation, though, Unicorn Jizz. It's not like he stuck his dick in her mouth by accident. Like, it's just so fucking retarded. Just so fucking retarded.
What percent chance do you give it that Trump will try to run for a third term and Americans actually vote for him? Let's say if J.D. Vance runs with the promise of resigning and Trump as VP so he becomes president again. What percent chance will that happen? I say like 30%.
He was actually talking about this fucking publicly. It sounds like he's actually going to try. I'd put it more at like 70%. I think the only thing that would stop him from actually trying is just going to be potential health issues. Like, he is old as shit already, and he's clearly not doing well. Like, you can see the edema in his ankles and shit, so he probably has congestive heart failure. Like, if old age, like, really catches up with him and he can barely get out of bed, feels like crap, no energy, like, that would probably stop him just because he's no longer going to have the motivation to actually do anything anymore. But if he stays, like, relatively healthy, like, as good as he is now for the next 3 years, he's gonna do it. It's just that there's a good likelihood this guy's going to croak within the next few years or just get really ill. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
WTF. Finn died? When? This is the first time you're mentioning this, right? Or have I missed it? When did he die and how?
He died like... When was it? It was... Six months ago, something like that. He was just old. I think he was either 11 or 12, and he's just old as shit. His body basically gave up on him. So, yeah. Thanks for the donation, though, Axel.
What's your opinion on Berserk 1990s anime versus Golden Age arc versus 2016 adaptation? Is there one you prefer? Do you think 2016 animation style is ass like other people seem to? I watched the second two and really liked the 2016 one myself. Am I stupid?
Are you talking about the Netflix adaptation? Because the actual anime series from 2016, that had absolutely horrendous animation. Especially when it first aired. They had 3D models that they were working with, and what basically happened was the creative director wanted to rely on 3D models with this mix of hand-drawn 2D animation. And the whole production team disagreed with him. They didn't want to do that. And he basically fought them for months to get them to fucking do it. They finally caved in, but by the time they actually started working on it, they had no time to actually develop the 3D models or do the hand-drawn stuff, combining it. So they had really shitty 3D models to work with. They couldn't get the hand-drawn stuff to overlay on top of it done. And they also didn't have time to do proper keyframing. So when it first aired, it was especially bad. You had characters that were like walking like dent, 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 dent. It was so bad. The original trailer for it looked great. So this is what it was supposed to look like. Let me see. Yeah, I think this was it. So that was basically the idea. These are 3D models, but they overlay some hand-drawn animation on top of the model to combine it. And it would have looked pretty good. I don't know if it's necessarily the most appropriate thing for Berserk, but it would have at least been pretty cool and decent. Like, it looks way fucking better than what came out. So that's the whole story behind that. The Golden Age arc Netflix series was really good. But yeah, the 2016... Like, the only thing the 2016 has is that it's Berserk. So, like, the overall story is good, but they also fucked up a lot of shit. It diverted from the manga a little too much, especially at the beginning. The 1990s anime is without a doubt better than the 2016 adaptation. And the Netflix Golden Age series is really good, but again, like both of the, like all the Berserk animated adaptations, they divert from the manga a little bit and they leave some scenes out which are pretty important. So the manga is just better, but yeah, the 1990s anime is just way fucking better than the 2016. You are indeed stupid. Thanks for the donation, Tyler.
No Dodo, you are attacking Trump 247 for every personal attack and small mistake he made in a week, and then compiled it, and that's all you say in a short time to make it seem he only says wrong things, like VG does. And 21st, you're right about VG's double standard of Dr. J.
Okay. Thanks for the donation 3.
Have you been eating more of a variety of food lately? Or still just tofu and sweet potatoes? I have been eating a lot of vegan waffles.
I've been eating a bit more of a variety of food. Not too much more, but a bit more. Diet's still staying clean, though. Thanks for the donation, E-Nation, and yeah, waffles are great.
Did quasi peer review for girl in uni history class. Few citations provided, most the essay was I believe this without cited evidence to substantiate. Heavy use of I and other self-ref. Like a 9th grade essay. My surprise came when professor gave her 100%.
Two things. Professors tend to grade girls more leniently than boys. That is an absolute provable fact. Women will be graded higher on average than men, even though it's comparable quality of work. And I've also noticed professors will be more lenient to foreign students, especially if they don't speak English particularly well. And I know in Canada, this is actually something that teachers are told to do. So if there's foreign students that don't speak English particularly well, you're supposed to grade them with a different standard. So it's fucking stupid. Kind of strange. You're seeing that in uni. Like it's expected that girls would be graded a bit more leniently. But it would be a little strange if foreign students are graded with a different standard, but it's retarded regardless. Thanks for the donation though, dude.
It's genuinely concerning that Teresa not only a non-zero chance but a fairly decent chance Trump will successfully be president for a third term that would completely annihilate the country, the institutions, the democracy. Putin would control our country.
It is. Hopefully Trump just croaks. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Dodo donators. I know sometimes it feels like something so evil could not actually happen, like Trump being president for a third term, but we learned from Kamala Harris's loss that yes, it is actually entirely possible to happen. I can't imagine how that would wreck the country. There's no legal basis whatsoever for him to run for a third term. Like, the Constitution is absolutely airtight. Like before, they're just going to test some stupid batshit legal theories and see what they can get away with, but I'm highly expecting to just see, like, a repeat of January 6th. Just more retarded shit. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
No Dodo, you are attacking Trump 247 for every personal attack and small mistake he made in a week, and then compiled it, and that's all you say in a short time to make it seem he only says wrong things, like VG does. And 21st, you're right about VG's double standard of Dr. J.
Okay, thanks again for that. Dodo Night Trailers wasn't even asking what chance he'd try it. I would agree. Like 90% chance he tries, but I'm asking what percent chance he actually wins. 0, like, oh, well, I guess it's a non-zero possibility, but it's somewhere between 0 and 1%. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
Bad health care at much too high a cost. And you see that now in the steep increase in premiums being demanded by the Democrats, and they are demanding those increases, and it's their fault. It is not the Republicans' fault. It's the Democrats' fault. It's the Unaffordable Care Act, and everybody knew it. Again, I want the money to go directly to the people.
The Affordable Care Act has provably, verifiably reduced the cost of health care.
So you can buy your own health care. You'll get much better health care at a much lower price. The only losers will be insurance companies that have gotten rich in the Democrat Party, which is totally controlled by those same insurance companies. They will not be happy, but that's okay with me because you, the people, are finally going to be getting great health care at a lower cost. Another major focus is the cost of energy. For years, the radical left Democrats exploited the green energy scam as an excuse to funnel many billions of dollars into their own massive slush funds as their energy restrictions drastically drove up prices, and they drove them up at record levels. Electricity costs surged 30 to 100% under Biden, and the typical family lost $5,000 to $10,000 in higher energy costs. Think of that, $5,000 to $10,000 you lost. On day one, I declared.
Be careful, VGSJWS might try to cancel you for just saying women are useless and are no use to male society.
Well, they can go ahead and try to do that. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Trump doesn't try to get a third term, you retards. He was joking about that when the crowd was chanting 4 more years. So you're just muddying the Trump waters by repeating this lie.
Uh-huh. Sure. Thanks for the donation, Sue.
Declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50 a gallon in much of the country. In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.90.
This graph is a complete, utter misrepresentation. There was a bigger dip during COVID.
99 cents a gallon. And within the next 12.
Did gas prices get up to $5 per gallon in the U.S. in 2022? That doesn't sound right.
Months, we will have opened 1,600 new electrical generating plants, a record, and it's a record that won't be beaten by practically, I would say, by anybody, or certainly not very soon. Prices on electricity and everything else will fall dramatically. The Democrat inflation disaster, again, the worst in the history of our country, also robbed millions of Americans of home ownership and indeed the American dream. The yearly cost of a typical new mortgage increased by $15,000 under Democrat rule. In 11 months, we've already gotten that annual cost down by $3,000, and it's coming down a lot lower. Wait till you see.
Also, no kid, but if Trump won't make America great again, if anything, he will turn into Nazi Germany.
If Trump would stay, like, had some ability to stay in power long enough, yeah, he basically would. Like, if Trump was, like, 35 or 40, and he could stay in power for, like, 20 years, like, over that period of time, yeah, he probably would. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. This, chart is misleading in many ways, and I think it's probably completely and utterly inaccurate for what it's even trying to represent. So he's saying Democrats increased the price to, like, by 14,647. He decreased it by 2,961. Well, that would still put us, like, here, right? So it's not that big of an improvement.
The numbers are going to be shocking, and I'll soon announce
taking this at face value. So he didn't really improve things much.
our next chairman of the Federal Reserve, someone who believes in lower interest rates by a lot, and mortgage payments will be coming down even further early the new year, and you will see this.
One study found that gender-biased grading accounts for 21% of the gap where boys fall behind girls in middle school math. What the fuck? Yeah, it's not surprising. I noticed that when I was in school. In my, especially in English class, aside from one teacher who was female, my grade 9 English teacher was fantastic. She was a really great fucking English teacher. Everyone hated her because she would grade really harshly. But she was a fantastic teacher, and people just didn't understand that she just demanded that you get better at language skills. And she would give you really good constructive criticisms and actually have you learn things. But because she graded so much harder than every other fucking teacher in the school teaching English, people were pissed off at her. With her, I noticed everyone got a fair grade. With every other English teacher I had, all my other English teachers were male as well. I would read other girls in the class, their essays. They were fucking terrible, and they would get better grades than me. I noticed it. It was so fucking painfully obvious. And yeah, if you actually look at the research on the topic, girls are graded a fair bit easier than boys. There is easily a fucking 10% gap in grading, which is fucking huge. That's the difference between an 80 and a 90%, or 70 and 80. No, it's the difference between a B and an A. So yeah, it's stupid.
BTW, if Trump does try to run for a third term, I hope he does not win, because if that happens, shit, we are screwed.
Well, not necessarily. It might end up being a good thing in the long run if he just completely and utterly face plants and embarrasses himself and just screws over the Republican Party doing it. If he's successful, yeah. I just don't see I just don't see a world where he's successful in doing it. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo. Haris donated $7. Thanks for the donation, Haris. Dodo donated $2. Let me see. Yeah, AI is weird. Speed fact check. Let me see.
Was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country.
President Trump didn't inherit anything close to record inflation. The all-time record was above 23%. In January 2025, when President Trump had his second inauguration, it was 3.0%. Now, it is true that the rate hit about a 40-year high, 9.1%, in June 2022, but the rate then quickly plummeted before Trump returned to office.
Crime at record levels. This is what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country.
Crime under Biden was nowhere close to a record high. It was way higher in the early 1990s, as well as various points of the 70s and 80s, and it actually fell in both 2023 and 2024.
I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months.
He didn't settle 8 wars. This 8 figure includes a diplomatic dispute between between Egypt and Ethiopia that was not a war at all under Trump. It includes a mystery situation between Serbia and Kosovo that also was not a war to possibly settle. It includes the ongoing war in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo that did not end despite a Trump-brokered peace deal that did not include the main rebel coalition doing the fighting. And it includes the Thailand-Cambodia armed conflict where fighting resumed this month. It kicked back up despite another Trump-brokered peace deal.
Inflation has stopped.
Inflation hasn't stopped. It was 2.7% in November. That's down from 3.0% in September, but it continues.
Price of eggs is down 82% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly.
It is true that egg prices have fallen sharply since March, though not by as much as the president said, but it's just not true that everything else is falling rapidly. Far more grocery products, dozens of them, have increased in price than decreased in price.
I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%.
These numbers don't make mathematical sense. You can't have a price cut of 400 to 600%. That would mean that Americans were getting paid money to get their medications, which obviously is not happening.
Gasoline is now under $2.50 a gallon in much of the country. In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.99 a gallon.
The company Gas Buddy told me that about 125 U.S. gas stations out of about 150,000 U.S. gas stations was selling for $1.99 or less the morning after Trump's speech, so less than 0.1%.
I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States.
This 18 trillion number is pure fiction. The White House's own website uses a $9.6 trillion figure, and even that is wildly exaggerated.
When I took off,
Yeah, so he's lying. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
No, your mom's ass will turn into Nazi Germany if you don't shut up.
Alright, well, thanks for the warning. Appreciate the donation, C.
Hell, if he does succeed to win a third term, then it might become Nazi Germany.
Yeah, I mean, if that did happen, that would definitely be worrying, but there's just no chance. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
In the new year, I will announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. A major factor in driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent and housing costs skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing. 100% of all net job creation has gone to
There's basically been zero job creation.
American-born citizens, 100%. Billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States.
This is a bizarre national address. So bizarre. Like, this is all cope for his administration's failures. Dodo, $22, have you ever received a credible death threat or anything that you were even 1% concerned might be legit? Well, I've received death threats from Muslims, and I would definitely take those more seriously. So, I was wary going out in public in Toronto after I made that, Islam video. But, yeah, other than that, not really. I'm not really too concerned with death threats because, you know, they can try, and I'll just kill them. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. I'm just, like, plain and simple not worried about dying, period. Like, we're all gonna die anyway, so whatever. Nobody's gonna make me change what I say or what I do just based on a fucking death threat. I live life the way I want. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo.
This is the outcome of 2 years of hateful indoctrination, demonizing the Jews, and delegitimizing Israel. What did they mean by globalizing Intifada? It means taking it to Sydney, take it to New York, take it to LA. As you know, my father wanted me to follow his footsteps of becoming a Hamas terrorist. And I dropped that idea.
Well, let me ask you, are you a Christian?
As far as I know, Blaha has never threatened me. As far as I know. He's threatened plenty of people. Like, he's threatened to shoot Mike O'Hearn. He's threatened to kill Lane Norton. And his family, I'm pretty sure. He's threatened to kill trolls online, you know, like nobodies. He also made those videos with his, at the time, girlfriend, where he was making these fake videos about how, oh, I'm hunting the trolls. A troll told me to meet him in this parking lot. I showed up, he didn't. Like, just crazy shit. The most unhinged thing he did, where, like, it shows that the guy is actually genuinely dangerous, is somebody put out a ad online of Jason Blaha's address, claiming that there was a trans prostitute or something at his house, like offering men to come by to have sex with a transgender prostitute. Some random black guy showed up at his house thinking he was going to meet like some tranny, knocked on Jason's door, and Jason, being an unhinged maniac, rather than just telling the guy to leave, not opening his door, or like calling the police, opens up his door with an AR-15, holds the guy at gunpoint, and stole his ID. Blaha was actually going to be charged by the police for kidnapping for that. And, like, aggravated assault and shit. The only reason Blaha didn't get charged and thrown in jail for that was the black guy was married. So he didn't want to press charges on Blaha because his wife would find out that he's trying to hook up with trannies. So Blaha got fucking lucky as fuck. He dodged, like, he really dodged a bullet there. He would have been in jail. Dodo Donate $2. This is VG disarming an attacker since you don't have a weapon yourself to defend yourself.
So if they try to back up, wait.
Yeah. That guy posted the video and then he threw a huge hissy fit over it. Yeah, his tactical self-defense bullshit just doesn't fucking work. It's just absolutely stupid. But don't worry. Think I'll be fine. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Identify as a Christian.
Okay. Why were you baptized in 2004 as a Christian?
It was a symbolic thing.
But surely symbolic of becoming a Christian. That's why you do it. Do you pray?
I don't pray, because usually when you have to pray, you have to ask for something materialist.
Do you celebrate Christmas?
You still can wish me a Merry Christmas.
Muslims bore the brunt of racism after 9/11, and extremism will be a key concern even if the Gaza ceasefire holds, with many thousands of young people now grieving incalculable loss. My next guest knows more about most than radicalization. Mossab Hassan Youssef is the son of the Hamas founder and was an Islamist militant till his defection to Israel, and he joins me now. Mossab, welcome back to Uncensored.
Hi, Pierce. Good to see you.
Just first of all, your reaction to this appalling terror attack in Sydney.
Well, this is horrible. This is the outcome of 2 years of hateful indoctrination, demonizing
How
the Jews.
would you defend yourself if a Muslim tried to kill you for attacking Islam, VG?
Well, I'd grab them by their unibrow and smash them on the pavement. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Dehumanizing and delegitimizing Israel, what we were expecting. This has been a jihad campaign against the Jewish minority, and most people are in denial. It started on October 7, and actually it started way before October 7. But instead of understanding Israel's position, that Israel had no choice but to fight and eliminate Hamas, the world accused Israel of committing genocide. Then so many false narratives were built on the theory that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. And that led to the hatred against the Jewish people. It led to the Sydney attack, to Manchester attack, and it will lead to more attacks. Many times I said falsehood will eventually lead to violence. False narrative of occupation, of genocide, of ethnic cleansing. Things actually don't exist in reality. There is a tragedy in Gaza. Nobody is celebrating this tragedy in Israel. No Israeli politician or citizen wanted to go into Gaza. It's not a fun trip. It's not a walk in the park. Israel, after the atrocity of October 7, had to send its best men to die in Hamas booby traps, where they cannot even differentiate combatant from civilian, where the terrorists, jihadists, used their own people as human shields. So the outcome has been catastrophic. We understand this. But the world, instead of understanding Israel's position, what they did, they have been accusing Israel. They have demonized the Jewish people. And now they want to go after, in a Jewish hunt, after the Jewish people worldwide. And nobody's stopping them. They're going unchecked. What did they mean when they said globalize the Intifada from the beginning? They triumphed on October 8th. They celebrated the atrocities against civilians. And since then, they have been saying globalize the Intifada. What did they mean by globalizing the Intifada? It means taking it to Sydney, take it to New York, take it to LA. Just the other day, the FBI exposed a plot targeting Los Angeles for plans to attack simultaneously at New Year's Eve. And they are affiliated with the pro-Palestine. They are not jihadists, they are not Muslims, they are leftists. But their ideology now is free Palestine and free Hawaii. This is what the FBI found with those guys. So the hateful indoctrination does not go in void, Piers. This is what we need to understand.
So here's the question I have for you, because you know a lot about this issue. You know both sides of the issue. You've lived on both sides of the issue. Here you had in Sydney a situation where a father and son had clearly become radicalized. They'd been in Australia for a number of years, since the early 2000s in the case of the father, seemingly living normal lives in the communities. One slight red flag with the son a few years ago, which the authorities, perhaps wrongly as it's turned out, concluded was not serious enough to warrant further investigation about who he was associating with. And then they become full-blown ISIS, banners in their car, and they go and attack any Jewish people they can target. But we also saw a Muslim go in and display extraordinary courage in stopping one of these assassins, and for his trouble getting shot up, and is now in hospital recovering, thankfully. And it raises, I guess, the complexity of this, which is there are 2 billion Muslims in the world, and there are 15 million Jews. So a massive disparity in the numbers there. But people keep telling me, a lot of Muslims agree with these Islamists, a lot of Muslims share this feeling, to which my instinctive response is, well, if that is the case, if even you had 10% of the world's Muslims who felt that way, that's 200 million people. So there would be these atrocities happening all the time, and they're not. And in fact, I would go further and say that about 80 to 90% of all the victims of Islamist terrorism are fellow Muslims, right? So it's not as straightforward as some people with their own agendas like to portray this issue. What do you feel about the reality here?
It happens that right-wing conservatives were right about left-wing SJWs all along.
Yeah. They're unhinged, fucking retarded lunatics. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
How many of the Muslim population do you think share a hatred of Jews, for example? How many would have sympathy with Hamas or Hezbollah or the Houthis or ISIS or whatever it may be? What is the reality here? Because if it was hundreds of millions, I would just assume the whole planet would be in flames all the time, and it's not. And I feel very strongly for Muslim friends of mine that I know, that every time one of these things happen, everyone wants to tar the whole religion with the same brush of extremism, which we don't do with other religions when people do it in, if they're extreme Christians or Hindus or whatever it may be. It's not the same rule applied. So what do you feel about that?
First of all, speaking of a father and son, as you know, my father wanted me to follow his footsteps of becoming a Hamas terrorist, basically. And this is when I dropped that idea, and I went against the interest of the family. On the other hand, I was born a Muslim myself. I studied Islam, I studied classic Arabic, I memorized huge portions of the Quran. I prayed to Allah 5 times a day. I was a devout Muslim. I was born in the mosque, literally in the mosque. I went to a Sharia school. I studied the Islamic law. And, but at some point, when I realized that it was a dead end, that it was leading to more
It's year in review time for basics, math and more.
Yeah, maybe we can watch that when we get to the sleep section of the stream. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo. Axel donators, is it weird to use antipsychotics for sleep? Antipsychotics are actually commonly prescribed for sleep issues, because they knock you the fuck out. They're not good for sleep, by the way. They don't actually allow you to get into a proper full REM sleep, but it is typical to prescribe antipsychotics for people suffering sleep issues. My girlfriend suffers with insomnia, uses them to sleep. Is that weird? No, that's not weird. That's common. That is a common use for those meds, so not unusual. Ideally, you would not rely on those meds for sleep. I would highly, highly, highly recommend to figure out what is causing the sleep issue, because, like, doctors are fucking stupid, so they don't know anything. Like, they literally know nothing. So, like, the way they teach you things in medical school is, let's say they're covering issues with sleep. What do you do when a patient has sleep problems? Here's a bunch of medications that will knock you out. They're not taught what causes sleep issues, what nutritional deficiencies, what hormonal problems you might have, lifestyle-related issues, diet-related issues. They're not taught that. They're just taught, here's a problem, here's what medication is a Band-Aid for it. So, like, there's got to be something that is triggering the sleep problem. It's not, in all likelihood, it's not like something that's completely idiopathic where it's just the way her brain and body works. So I would kind of explore what could potentially be causing the problem. Like, get like a full vitamin mineral panel done. Also check electrolyte balance. So, like, and that includes like potassium, magnesium. I would also test hormones, including thyroid. So T3, T4, and reverse T3. Like, all those things can potentially affect sleep. So, and you might also want to look into meal timing. If she's like snacking regularly throughout the day or something, even during the nighttime, some people are especially sensitive where if they eat anything, like, they just cannot sleep. So I would explore those things, because if she's going to rely on antipsychotics to get to sleep, and that's like almost a nightly thing, one, you're not actually achieving real sleep by doing that. They don't allow you to actually get into real REM sleep. So all the fucking problems that will, like, health problems that you can get from a lack of sleep, they're still going to happen. And the antipsychotics are directly neurotoxic. They damage your brain. So you do not want to use antipsychotics long term. They cause a lot of fucking problems. So they're very bad for you. But thanks for the donation, Axel.
Or
Hope
violence, and that nothing could satisfy the Islamic ambition. I had to drop that Islamic identity. By the way, speaking of this hero in Sydney, and I tell you from personal experience that this man in that moment, he dropped all his identity. You think when he threw himself in the fire, he was thinking to himself, I am a Muslim or I am an Australian? He dropped his entire interest. He risked his life, his physical body, his future, and he jumped into the fire to stop the killer. At that moment, he was not a Muslim. He did not have any identity. He was pure potential, pure humanity. This is what we need to see. And after that, people labeled him a Muslim. Why? Because they have guilt. And especially the same crowd that has been demonizing
white guilt cuck faggots. It's just so strange. Why in the like, how did we get here where like people are ashamed to say, you know, this religion that literally tells you to kill non-believers and lets you rape women and children, like, maybe that's not good. Oh, racism, Islamophobia. Ooh, I'm scared. Like, oh my God. It is just so psychotic. Fucking insane.
The Jews and calling to slaughter the Jews, those are the ones who found opportunity to identify with heroism. They want it to be heroism when it's convenient, when it suits their narrative. But they did not see the other side, the killer, the embodiment of evil who was shooting civilians. They should actually identify with the other side, with the dark side, because this is the actual manifestation of their hateful indoctrination over the last 2 years. They have celebrated October 7th. Then they celebrated ballistic missile attacks on civilians in Israel, where they ran like... it was insane to see that celebration against civilians and the indiscriminate attack against civilians. And many of them, by the way, back in the day also celebrated suicide bombing attacks. So now the thing is the problem is not with the Muslims. The problem is with Islam itself, with jihad itself. And jihad is a unique concept only to the religion of Islam. You cannot find it in Christianity.
No,
you
but
cannot find it in
what I'm
Buddhism,
saying to that...
not in Hinduism.
Okay,
Please, just let me finish.
Okay.
It's important. Please let me finish. So the thing is, the Muslims, the vast majority of Muslims are peaceful people. They don't want violence. This is the human nature. The human nature is against violence. This is what makes us different than the animals. But the problem, when Muslims identify with Islam, they give cover to the jihadists. And in many cases, they identify with something they completely oppose. And this is an identity crisis within Islam.
That's commodified healthcare for you. Medical professionals are taught to treat the symptom and never address the cause because there's no money in that. You can't get rich treating a population of healthy people who don't need your services, right?
That's not the fundamental issue. A lot of it has to do with it's just a cultural thing. So, you know, Western medicine was the one who brought like real medical technology to the world. And like once people figured out like, oh wow, we can, you know, make a medication that will eradicate X disease. Like antibiotics are a great example of this, where here's a problem, you have an infection, here's a medication that we designed, fabricated, developed, infection gone. So like when you have a new technology like that that's only come from like one culture, it like probably developed this idea, oh, well, medicine just cures things. Like that's the issue. We just need to make medications for these problems. And there's a lot of value in that. Like there's a lot of practical reasons why like some of that thinking is really good. You can't always figure out what the cause of a certain problem is. And even if you do, like some of these things require major lifestyle intervention, right? Like diabetes. Okay, being overweight, eating certain foods, not exercising enough, you know, those are the modifiable risk factors for diabetes. How many fucking lazy ass retarded fat fucks that are addicted to donuts are going to do any of that to fix their diabetes? Nobody. So that's what the medication's for. So you could either have these people rot to death and kill themselves, or you can just give them a medication that's easy to take, and then they can like increase their lifespan and avoid some of the health issues they'd otherwise have. And like, again, that's why the GLP-1 agonist drugs are good. And like some of these medications can work like synergistically too with lifestyle. So testosterone replacement therapy and GLP-1 agonists are probably the best example of this. People have trouble sticking to a diet. Like it's hard, they're hungry, it takes a lot of like willpower. Well, if you're on a GLP-1 agonist, it kills your appetite, but it also helps you to get that dedication to a diet. So the GLP-1 agonists give you the kind of boost in willpower that you would need to follow a more strict diet. So like there's a lot of value in medications, but I think most of this whole, you know, thing about just using medications to treat whatever problem. It's more of a cultural issue that just hasn't really been addressed yet. Also, like, there's so many different health problems that people can have that are, like, so intricate and intertwined and complex. Like, I wouldn't expect them to be able to, like, put doctors through medical school within any reasonable amount of time and, like, learn how to treat every potential, like, disease or illness or whatever with some combination of lifestyle interventions. I just don't think that's entirely practical. But like, yeah, don't ever think a doctor can fix an issue for you, especially if it's a chronic condition. So, you know, like insomnia. If you consistently, chronically have something like that, they're just not going to be able to do anything for you. If you have a broken leg or an infection or you need surgery, modern medicine's great for that. But, like, they're just not really well equipped for dealing with chronic conditions that have a lot of different potential causes. Could be diet, could be lifestyle, could be, like, some hormonal imbalance that's sort of genetic that you might need certain drugs for, and a combination of, like, some other lifestyle factors. Like, they're just not going to be able to figure that out for you, especially considering the amount of patients they have and shit, and, like, there's a lot of problems. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for your own health, and it's you can't rely on medical professionals to, like, fix you. You kind of have to figure it out for yourself. Thanks for the donation, though, Tyler.
Appreciate the stream, VG. I'm about 176 to 185 feet 8 inches with pretty genetics. I just started benching and pause bench Ben helping. I look like I can bench a lot, but I can barely bench my body weight. You got any tips? I love sweet potatoes.
I don't know exactly what your issue with training is or what your training looks like where I could really give you any advice. My basic advice is just keep benching. You might want to bench multiple times a week, like at least twice, if that's not a particularly good lift for you. Benching, while doing any exercise with a higher frequency, it seems to improve your strength. It's not necessarily ideal for hypertrophy or better for hypertrophy, but for strength, training more frequently on a given lift seems to be helpful. So if your bench really sucks, then you might just need more practice on the lift to get better at it. But, like, other than that, like, unless you can tell me, like, what your training is currently and what specific issues you have, I can't really just give you any advice on how to get a bigger bench. You just have to train. Thanks for the donation, though, Anonymous.
And this is why I say to many of those peaceful Muslims who identify with Islam, and they could be in the hundreds of millions, who don't even know the Quran, who don't know the Islamic law, who don't know that they're actually required for physical and financial and social jihad. If they don't understand it, if they haven't gone to a Sharia school like I did, they go identifying because they think this is their ethnicity, but it's not. It's a label slapped on them. And I think in a moment where they have to choose between the higher interests of humanity or some identity given to them by their parents, they have to choose the higher interests of humanity, the same way this hero, Ahmed, in Sydney did.
I think it's a really interesting point, because I think you're right. In the moment, he wasn't making, I suspect, calculations about who the intended targets were, who the aggressors were, or anything. He was just seeing people getting shot and had a chance to try and stop it. And that was the act of courage. But again, I come back to the fact that we tend to tar 2 billion people with a sense that they're all in on this kind of thing. And obviously, as you...
Here's another donation to spend an hour on answering, so everyone's time is wasted and you can avoid the reaction part.
All right, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thanks. I'm gonna have to poop soon. Maybe I should go and poop now. You know what? I'll wait a little longer.
You just said the vast majority of Muslims are peace-loving people who want nothing to do with this.
They found the brown uni shooter, like, for real this time. Found dead. Found in the Salem storage facility with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Man, it may have been dead for a bit of time. All right, well, he killed himself. That's interesting. He may not have been Muslim then. I'm not sure. The one photo they released, he looked like he might have been brown. I don't know if that was the same guy, because this one, he looks like he might have been brown or Middle Eastern descent or something. Could have just been some crazy SJW dipshit. Who knows? Because, like, I know if you're, like, a strict Muslim, you go to hell if you do that, so... Probably just some, like, whatever ethnicity he is. Just some, like, crazy fucking Jew-hating lunatic.
And the vast majority of victims of Islamist extremism are Muslims, right? So what do we do about this? Going forward, you know, I can't make, there's no justification for what these people did. Obviously, it was hate-filled and aimed specifically, in this case, at Jewish people. I completely understand why Jewish people around the world feel very scared about this kind of thing happening, particularly off the back of the rising tide of anti-Semitism in the last 2 years. It's been horrific to watch. And again, I think a lot of people are blaming Jewish people for the actions of the Israeli government, which some people support, and other people think have gone way too far, and that has inflamed anti-Israeli sentiment, and people conflate Israelis with Jews and so on. And I think there's a lot of that going on too. So there's a lot of hatred going on generally, and it's generalized and it's sweeping. What do we do about this, Marcel? Like I say, you're in almost a unique position to try and offer a solution. What is the way out of this?
Today's show is sponsored by Oxford Natural, makers of the Optimum Day and Optimum.
Their fear of hypothetical entities that don't exist. For example, you know, Muhammad was, back in the day, was ahead of his generation. They were justifying killing baby girls, and Muhammad was against it, and he was persecuted because of that. But also he did some aggressive things. He launched jihad against his opponents. And when it came to the Jewish communities of the Arab Peninsula, he wiped them out. And now there are hadiths, for example, in Islam, that calls for the annihilation of the Jewish tribe completely. And that's a hadith sahih. It's in the most trusted Islamic sources, and it's confirmed by all the Islamic scholars. Now the thing is, Muslims, it looks like they are incapable of rewriting these laws. Anyone who tried to criticize Islam gets accused with Islamophobia. I am one of them. I have been...
Well, the fundamental issue is, like, supposedly, you know, the Prophet Muhammad was in direct communication with God. So anything he said, anything that was written down, that he dictated, like, that's the absolute truth, can't be questioned. So that creates a huge issue when you're trying to reform the religion. Like, that's the one benefit with Christianity, where these are all just stories told by different people's perspectives, and you can interpret these things in any number of ways.
I've been saying this for many, many years. And for the last 15 years, since the social media generation, many Muslims have been radicalized because they have access to radical platforms. And now the thing is, instead of trying to help the moderate Muslims to overcome their fear and criticize and try to reform Islam, what we have been doing, we have been censoring every attempt to criticize Islam. They placed a death sentence over me. I guarantee you that The vast majority of Muslims, they don't want me dead. But according to the Islamic law, because I changed my religion or because I renounced Islam, there is a death sentence over my head. So the Islamic law says, Muhammad precisely say, whoever changes his religion, kill him. This is the death sentence that my father validated over my head because I renounced the Islamic violence and the Islamic jihadism. So now, many people don't want to be in my position. It's not a good position because they would be shunned from their families or they would be shamed by the society. They could be labeled as traitors. And these are very dangerous labels that most people don't want to have to go through. But at the end of the day, especially Muslims in the West, instead of going actually against the values of the West or exploiting the values in the West to just criticize the West, they should be doing the opposite. They should be trying to help reform Islam. Islam was written in the 7th century. Judaism also was written thousands of years ago, but the Jews were able to reform it. There are violent verses in Judaism, but it has been reformed. It has been integrated. And today in the 21st century, we cannot take ideology or a belief system from the 7th century and try to force it into the 21st century.
But there are people,
so this is the responsibility.
There are people who say that the Quran, for example, it gets interpreted and spun deliberately to look like it's inciting violence by those who want to propagate violence. In other words, they twist the meaning of the text to suit their violent intent. And the Bible, I'm a Christian, the Bible's full of violence, obviously. But the Quran, comparative to the Bible, is nowhere near as violent. It's just a fact. But it gets twisted and used in a sort of propaganda way as if somehow it is an entreaty of violence. Isn't that part of the problem? I agree with you about social media, that social media is radicalizing people all over the place. And they may be being educated via social media in a very deliberate, targeted way by those who are on the extremist edge of this stuff, who are saying, look, the Quran makes it crystal clear, you have to do this, 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 and this. Whereas most moderate Muslims I've talked to say that is not what it means at all. It's being twisted and used in a way to encourage violence.
Okay, so here is what I think. I think for all those, the peaceful Muslims who don't choose violence and still identify with Islam without understanding it, first of all, I invite them to study what jihad actually means. And many try to explain jihad as inner struggle, but it's not. In the Quran, it's obvious. Jihad is a fundamental pillar in the Islamic belief system. And it's jihad where a Muslim is required to sacrifice himself or herself, if necessary, to establish a khilafah. A khilafah is a global state. It's not the Islamic State that we saw these ugly images coming out of Syria and out of Sydney. It's a global Islamic State where there is only one Islamic ruler. Islam does not believe in diversity or multiplicity. They don't believe in other religions. Actually, what it really means when Muslims say, La ilaha illallah, it means literally there is no divinity but Allah. This means cancellation of Judaism, of Buddhism, of Hinduism, of Christianity, of all other belief systems, and consider Islam as the only and final belief. Well, this is very, very dangerous, but this is the essence.
But that is rejected,
Islam,
isn't it? But
Muslims...
again, I come back to this. So in the United States, there are about 5 million Muslims and about 5 million Jews. In the UK, about 5 million Muslims and 250,000 Jews. So very different breakdown. But
will we react to the Clav doc next? Also, I tried to go see that new horror movie with Sydney Sweeney and it was so lame and boring I walked out a half hour in. It had a few nice shots of her tits and ass though.
I'm not aware of what movie that is. I don't know why people think Sydney Sweeney's hot. She is just... Like, dude, if you walk down, like, any street in Toronto, you will, like, walk across 20 more girls on any given day, any given hour that are way hotter than Sydney Sweeney. She's just not bad, you know? Kind of mid. Like, you know, she's not fat or hideous or anything, but, like, I mean... It's just like, okay, you know, I don't get it. I do not get it. Like I can see the appeal of Christina Ricci when she was older, but I just do not get Sydney Sweeney. Really confusing to me. But yeah, we're going to watch the Clav doc next. Thanks for the donation, nigga.
The reality is, in both countries, that in the majority of cases, you would say there's been pretty good assimilation of both those groups of people into normal society in the United States and the UK. There have been some bad incidents, but there hasn't been, it's not like you've got thousands of people rampaging around all day, every day, committing terrible acts. In other words, it seems to me that the majority of Muslims in the US and the UK go about their lives integrated pretty well with the culture and society they live in and don't want to pursue acts of violence. And so I come back to the fact that if you take that across the world with 2 billion people, the number of extremists is very small. Otherwise, we'd be seeing a lot more of this stuff going on. So again, I don't know what the answer is here, but I do know that it's not a case that the majority of Muslims support this or want any part of it. And that's my problem with how these, when these incidents blow up, I go on social media and all I see is appalling Islamophobia. I also see a lot of anti-Semitism. I see a lot of hatred generally spewing around. But it just
appalling Islamophobia. Give me a fucking break, dude.
Remains clear to me that the vast majority of Muslims do not want to be violent, and yet there is this perception.
The majority of Muslims don't want to be violent. Like, here's the thing: they want other Muslims to do the violence for them. So, you can go into some of these Muslim communities and ask them what they think of Sharia law, whether they'd rather have the U.S. become an Islamic state or stay the way it is. Like, you'll all hear, like, the craziest shit from these people. Oh, yeah, I support Sharia law. Yeah, I don't think women should be allowed to go out in public. I'm not really sure if women should, like, be able to go to school with men. That seems a little extreme to me. Like, yeah, I want the U.S. to become an Islamic Sharia law state. Like, these people might not be willing to commit violence themselves because, like, for a variety of reasons, they might be too cowardly to do it. They might think that it won't lead to anything where, like, yeah, they could sacrifice themselves and kill a bunch of people, but it's not really going to create an Islamic state, and they're not going to be able to enjoy it because they're dead. Like, number of reasons why they might not be motivated to do it. But like when you hear them say this shit where they want the US to be ruled by Sharia law and everyone be forced to be Muslim, like, I think you can figure they want somebody else to do the violence for them that would lead to that.
Amongst people that's the inevitability of a growing Muslim population is they want to take over the country. Like in the UK, they want to take us over, and they want to instill the Muslim culture over all others, have their own legal system, their own rules, everything else. And I just don't see that. I see bits of that. I see there are certainly some Muslims in the UK that feel that, but the vast majority do not seem to want that. Christmas is peak time for
I don't know how we can figure that. Go to any Muslim neighborhood and ask them.
Lowest price ever, plus 4 extra months of service. Just scan the QR code on the screen or go to expressvpn.com/peers.
Exactly, and I don't blame you. I think your observation is accurate, and it is the truth. But the thing is, why identify with something that you completely oppose? Like, for example, Muslims who don't believe in jihad. It's very similar to meat eaters who identify as vegans. They are not vegans. And the Muslims who don't believe in jihad, basically, they are not Muslims. They are going against...
Yeah, that's a very good analogy.
Against Islamic law. They are going against all the Islamic...
Yeah, but that's the point.
The essence of Islam. It's not up to them.
Yeah, but hang on, that's the crucial point, right there. So your position is that if you follow the faith of Islam, then you automatically have to sign up to violence. Whereas
Yes, it is commanded by the religion. Like that's the fundamental pillar of Islam. The whole fucking reason this religion succeeded is because the Prophet Muhammad told a bunch of stupid, disgusting, inbred, unibrowed fucking losers that if you kill in the name of Islam, you'll get money. And even if you die, you'll get 72 virgins in the afterlife. The fundamental pillar of Islam is fucking violence. That's what it was based on. That's why it was so successful. Because he was able to recruit dumb fucking dudes who thought it was worthwhile to steal, rape, murder, to get riches in this life, and they justified it by then being granted like paradise in the afterlife.
From everything I've heard from my moderate Muslim friends, of which I have many, is that is not how they interpret Islam. They do not see Islam as a faith that necessitates you being violent. It's the extremists that every religion has, and because there are 2 billion Muslims, there's going to be exponentially more probably Muslim extremists in other religions, just simply on numbers, but they do not see Islam itself as the problem. They see extremism and
like it's literally written in the Quran. You must commit jihad. Like you must kill.
misinterpretation of Islam is the problem, and they make a clear delineation.
There's no interpreting. It's stated plainly and clearly.
Which it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but your position is anybody that follows the faith of Islam, 2 billion people right now do that they must all follow a path of violence, or they are reneging on what it means to follow Islam.
Again, to identify with something that you don't understand and try to just manipulate it to suit your position, because your perception of yourself, that you are a peaceful...
Here's the trailer for that movie. Also, think the main appeal behind Sydney Sweeney is her huge tits. I'd like to suck the milk out of them.
I thought she didn't have very big boobs. Dude, she's just not hot. She's just not hot. I don't get it.
Would you like to see what you're getting yourself into? Sure. It's like fucked up.
Why would you go see this in theaters? Like, obviously it's shit. This is so obviously a terrible fucking movie. I don't even think Sydney Sweeney has huge tits. Does she? Oh, did she get implants or something at some point? Am I, like, brain broken? I don't ever recall her having big boobs. Yeah, these look like implants. I swear her chest was smaller at some point. Does anybody know if she's gotten implants? They look like implants. They have the weird, you know, thing. Maybe it's just from the bras she's wearing. I think Billie Eilish has better boobs anyway. And again, like, she's just not hot. I don't get it. Thanks for the donation though, nigga. Kid Boo donate $2. If you can't afford to tip 18 to 20%, eat at home. Yeah, how about no? Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo. It's fucking stupid.
Full person. Yet you give cover to the jihadists and to the bad guys, and you legitimize a belief system that does not believe in the other's right to exist. For example, the Prophet Muhammad, when a bunch of Arabians came to him and they said, we became Muslims, he said, don't say that you became Muslims. He said, لا تقولوا أسلمنا لا تقولوا آمنا قولوا أسلمنا ولما يدخل الإيمان في قلوبنا. Meaning that you're only Muslims. Even Muhammad himself considered Muslim is just a very basic level, entry level into Islam. But if you really want to look at a bright side, that's Sufism, Sufis. And there are so many Sufi masters in the West, in Europe, also in the East, that actually stay away from politics completely. They withdraw, like the Hanifs, like Muhammad when he went, abandoned Mecca and went up to the mountain in a long retreat, seeking spirituality, seeking God in devotion. I highly encourage the Muslims actually to do this, to look within and to drop the label, including the Muslim label. What's the point of identifying as a Muslim? Means that you are entitled for something. What do you want in return? And especially in days where the Muslim card pays. And what I say, that drop the identity completely. First of all, you're a human being. Be a good person. Be like Ahmed. When you see the hateful campaign against the Jewish minority, very productive, very successful people that actually have very good relationship with the Muslims. There are so many Muslims in Israel. There are so many Arabs in Israel, and they have equal rights. They have their mosques. They have even representatives in the Israeli parliament. So Israel and the Jewish people don't look towards the Muslims with hatred. So now when we see the waves, especially after October 7th, spreading hatred against the Jewish people, then I see 2 billion people, okay? Let them be even 7 billion people agreeing.
Apparently the Brown University shooter is named Claudio Manuel Neves Valente. So, Mexican or something? I guess we'll find out more about who the guy is, but seems like it could just be some Somebody watched too many fucking TikTok videos and is like a crazy lefty.
On barbarism, then I will have to confront all of them. So why do they identify with something they don't understand? Before they are Muslims, they are humans. We are all.
Yeah, I'm drinking low-calorie lemonade. What's this fucking guy's name? Case is now believed to be connected to the murder of a 47-year-old Massachusetts Institute of Technology nuclear fusion professor, Portuguese native Nuno Loureiro, which took place 2 days later. Huh. Valente was briefly enrolled as a graduate student in physics in 2000 at Brown, where he would have taken classes exclusively in Barris and Holly Engineering Building, where the mass shooting was carried out. Huh.
I guess they are real.
Sydney Sweeney takes lie detector test to prove if her boobs are real as she is quizzed. Well, lie detector tests are just bullshit. They don't do anything. I'm leaning towards them not being real, but who knows? It could just be the way they look from whatever clothes and bra she's wearing. I don't know though. Whatever. Thanks for the donation, nigga.
Children of God, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindus, we are all expressions of the divine. Individualized expressions of the divine. And for us, what we need to find our individuality before we need to hide behind a mask. Actually, if you look at what is a Muslim, can you please help me define a Muslim? What is a Muslim? Can you define it? I bet you won't be able to find a definition for what a Muslim is. So everybody, it's only in their head. And at the end of the day, we think that they are 2 billion, but they are not 2 billion. And when I meet a Muslim, usually, as long as they haven't identified as a Muslim, I only see their individuality. I see a human being in front of me. And I am able to communicate with them on a personal level. Now, the moment they slap or they just raise the religious card, this is when I am concerned. This is when I don't trust that person. The only time when they identify as a Muslim. But as long, if you really want to be a good person, you don't need actually to be anybody. You don't need the identity. You can just show me who you are through your practice, not through the theories that given to you, especially theories from the 7th century. So you know, Ahmad showed the entire world. Ahmad showed the entire world through practice. So my answer, practice. But if
if I was a Muslim listening to this, I'd say, okay, this guy used to be a Muslim, and he says we shouldn't identify as a Muslim.
Thanks for the generous donation, Chris. I appreciate that.
Okay, that's an argument, but you're a Christian convert. So my immediate response would be, if I was one of them, if I was a Muslim, I'd say, well, why do you identify as a Christian then? If you don't want people to be identified by religious labels, why did you convert to Christianity? Why do you call yourself a Christian? It's the same argument, it's just another religion.
Well, this is basically a label that is given to me. I don't identify. How many times we had conversations? I don't identify.
Well, let me ask you, are you a Christian?
I am influenced by the teachings of Yeshua. Okay, this is a very different thing. It inspired me, the principle of love thy enemy, of unconditional love, of forgiveness. So these were very important principles when I was finding my way out of Islam.
But are you a Christian or not? Are you a Christian or not?
But here, I don't identify as a Christian. Okay. Because what is Christian? What denomination? What book? What fellowship? If I to identify as a Christian, it could be anything. It could be extreme Christian.
My question, why were you baptized in 2004 as a Christian?
It was a symbolic thing.
But why? Why would you do that?
I did not. It was symbolic. It was a symbolic event. You know, it was a closing chapter.
It's surely symbolic of becoming a Christian. That's why you do it.
Oh.
No, baptism for me, it was symbolic. And I get baptized every day. I have been.
Look at this. I got a cat. There's your kitty. He's very fuzzy. You're a big fuzzy boy. Hey, fuzzy boy. How's my big fuzzy?
And a yoga practitioner for almost 15 years. I haven't been to a church for 15 years. So now you can also label me by things that I did some 15 years ago.
Who do you pray? Do you pray?
I don't pray, because usually when you have to pray, you have to ask for something materialist. I don't pray for anything.
Okay.
I'm responsible for my actions. And I don't need much in this life. All I need to just be able to breathe freely, be able to walk freely, and to see children out of the harm's way, to see women safe. This is where the society where I came from. And unfortunately, you know, we look at the Muslim world. How do they treat their women? Forget about the West and the peaceful people, your friends that you hang out with and you have good time. Look at the Muslim world. How do they treat their women? How do they treat their children? The child abuse and the child indoctrination. This is what actually defines a society. And this has been my journey. You know, that I overcome so many obstacles to find my freedom. And of course, I did not leave the religion of Islam to come to the religion of Christianity. You know, actually, for those who understand the essence of Yeshua's teachings, they find freedom out of religion. They don't go and lock themselves up.
Do you celebrate?
I don't identify.
Do you celebrate Christmas?
I don't celebrate holidays. For me, they are meaningless. For me, I celebrate life.
I only ask you because
when I wake up in the morning, it's like a new birth.
I understand that. I only ask you because I was going to end the interview, which has been fascinating. I always enjoy having you on Uncensored, but I was going to end the
Jeez. Tried to get him in a bunch of gotchas. Yeah, Pierce Morgan's a bit of a white guilt cuck, dude. Where is it? There it is. I think Frank might have uploaded some stuff.
You guys keep making fun of my life of doom and despair.
Sofia Vergara in the 1990s and early 2000s was peak. Way hotter than Sydney Sweeney.
No. Well, okay. Yeah, I'd say she was better looking than Sydney Sweeney. I don't think she was ever particularly hot. Like, she's pretty, but, you know, it just, I don't know, not my type. I think she does have, like, more conventional beauty than Sydney Sweeney. I don't find either of them attractive, though. Even when she was younger, I didn't find her attractive. Thanks for the donation, though, Gooner nigga.
But it doesn't stop at the roof. Another contractor messed up my bathroom, and I'm debating on doing it section by section, like trying to redo it section by section, gutting the whole thing. So let me show you guys what's messed up. So, you know, you take a quick glance, you're like, hey, it looks pretty good from my house, but as soon as you get up close, you know, you can see the tiles were done incorrectly. Some stuff is way worse than others. I went to get surgery in May, orbital reconstruction, and I trusted this guy with my bathroom while I was gone. When I came back and saw this, I was like, you know what? It was almost done, so I said, just finish it and let's see what it looks like. I think the only thing done reasonably is this shower floor, and even then it's horrible. Like, I mean, you can look at how bad the grout is, how all the tiles are not, you know, not placed correctly. I don't want to get started on this stuff by the closet here. So obviously, like, I think honestly all the tile work just needs to be complete.
I can guarantee you he found some random dude on Craigslist who would do this the cheapest.
Redone, but I'm debating on, you know, do I just rip the tile out and then just put up drywall and paint it at this point? Because, you know, it's a shame, you know, you had all this beautiful tile and he did a really crappy job. you know, whole tile bathroom, tile floor, tile shower, tile walls, and he messed all of it up. He didn't do the tile nicely. You know, it's not placed correctly. It's really shoddy stuff. So I'm debating on even putting tile back up. And I mean, guys, this is probably, you know, someone to do this bathroom is insane. I'm already in it for much less than it would have cost to, you know, it saved a lot of money regardless, even if I have to redo this. But I think it might not be a bad idea to knock this wall out, so we don't have to tile anything here and just have like an open storage thing here. I don't know. I need someone with half a brain that actually remodels bathrooms to give me some advice. Hey, at least we got 2 shower heads. Hey, one thing was done nicely, right? But, you know, point is, all the tile work was done really shoddy, and I don't want my bathroom to be out of commission for God knows how long again, because I'm basically, you know, getting someone to remodel and helping them do it. You know, it's not like I have a crew that can come in and just bang it out unless this guy's insurance company pays me out, which is probably not going to happen. So I don't know. I just want to know, like, can this be redone section by section, or are we going to be wasting time by not gutting it all at once?
So what's...
He's stupid. Aaron P. Donatello's 2-part question. I was watching The Accountant the other day. 1, how autistic is Ben's character in The Accountant? What movie is The Accountant? How autistic is Ben Affleck? He dated Jennifer Lopez 3 times and 10 women named Jennifer. I've never seen the movie or even heard of the movie The Accountant. Ben Affleck's kind of a stupid douchebag. I don't know if the Jennifer thing is just a coincidence, but you know, he's just a douchebag. Thanks for the donation, though, Aaron.
What's the best way to improve upon your coloring, right? So melanotan 2. Guys, melanotan...
Yeah, I'm tired of this industry shill pushing all of this dog shit snake oil. And
Melanotan 2 is not snake oil. It is a peptide that actually works.
The truth would be, you know, follow a healthy diet, get some sun, maybe go in the tanning bed a few times throughout the winter if you're not happy.
Why wouldn't you just take melanotan, trigger melanin synthesis, and protect yourself from skin cancer?
Happy with your base tan, but to inject yourself with this crap and
melanotan protects you from skin cancer. It also has the benefit of making your erections harder.
To promote it it's so beyond honest and truthful that, you know, it still shocks me this guy hasn't been exposed yet with how much of a money-grubbing shill he is. And
Clav does not sell melanotan.
That all of the stuff he's pushing is literal dog shit snake oil.
No, melanotan is a drug that actually works. It was developed to both prevent and treat skin cancer. Whereas you're selling garbage that does nothing.
Like nothing actually works.
No, it works. If you take melanotan, your skin will get darker, you fucking idiot.
And the only things that do work that he promotes are highly illegal.
Melanotan is not illegal. Frank's a fucking idiot.
So I had infraorbital rim implants, and I look terrible. I had them removed and look much better like my old self. And I've done a lot of research on implants. My simple opinion is that the field is not advanced enough to justify getting any sort of implant unless it's something very obvious, like you have a super recessed jawline and you want to fix it a little bit. Anything else, we simply don't have the technology to do it correctly. You should be able to scan someone's face, their hard and soft tissue, show them what they would look like after the surgery. That's the only way to know whether or not someone will look good with the implant, instead of just shooting in the dark and botching people. That's literally what we're doing. We're putting plastic in people's faces and hoping
They're not made out of plastic.
That the overall aesthetic outcome will be correct. But there is such a variance in the shape and size of what the implants need to be. I can't illustrate how far behind we are and how close we are to not being able to do this correctly. Like, the idea of custom implants is very, very new, and the size and shape and width and thickness of look at how different people are from person to person. You have all those different variances that need to be 3D programmed, and do we have the technology to do it? I think we do, but no one's developed the software yet. No one has developed the software that allows someone to analyze the hard and soft tissue of the person and determine the exact shape and size of the implant that is ideal for their face. No one has done it yet, and it's not capable of doing it. And can you try to guess? No, I don't think so. I don't think you can. I think it's too difficult, especially in the eye area and the cheek area, based on the soft and hard tissue of the person. I don't think you can guess and try to figure out, okay, if we, give the person cheek implants here and we extend their jaw and chin a little bit and we'll give them the supraorbital. And to further enforce what I think, there's no before and after pictures online. No one's freaking done it. If no one has done it, then we can't say it's reasonable to do. There has to be multiple doctors with proven before and after photos and hundreds of surgeries that have been successful before we can. Now we're just experimenting.
Okay. It's really blabbing a lot.
Clavis Big Lenny build lol. I wonder if he was a misfit maniac. That would be funny.
Yeah, dude, like, it's retarded that Frank is saying melanotan doesn't work. Like, has he ever heard of Big Lenny? How the fuck did that motherfucker get so dark? So, Frank has no fucking clue what he's talking about. It's funny how he said melanotan does nothing and it's snake oil, and then he literally sells snake oil. Like, just, desiccated, dried testicles. It boosts your testosterone. Like, what a fucking asshole. Wouldn't surprise me if Clav knows about Big Lenny. He almost certainly would, I feel. Thanks for the donation, though, Pooh. Animal Liberation donated $2. Let me see.
Great that you've come to the UK, yeah? Because you need to take a warning back to the United States of America. Because what you graph...
This isn't worth watching. Tommy Robinson's a bit of a dumbass, and, I've already listened to enough of his crap. He just says the same shit on every single fucking podcast he's on. Like, who cares? Like, I already know his whole shtick. Like, yeah, Islam bad. It's just not interesting to watch, especially for a fucking hour. Thanks for the donation, though, dude. Strong Vegetables and $2. Funny how Frank thinks he's actually smart. Oh my god, it's hilarious. Yeah. He's so stupid he doesn't even realize how retarded he is. Thanks for the donation, dude.
These look smackers talking about these Lafort surgeries are completely delusional. Completely delusional. It's never been done. There is not one before and after picture of someone who is not deformed that has undergone these surgeries. It has never, ever been done. And anyone promoting these surgeries or talking about it, there's no before and after pictures online. The only people that these procedures have been performed on are, as you see, people that have severe facial deformities or genetic defects from birth. It's kind of wild. Anything besides a double jaw surgery has really never been done. And even if you want something like orbital implants or stuff like that, no one has before and after photos. So who knows how many generations away from legitimately safe and effective.
Alright, well, that's Frank. He's still stupid.
Mewing.
mogging, looksmaxing. These are all terms we take for granted as part of popular internet Zoomer lexicon. But not too long ago, these terms were reserved for a few niche boards on websites that the general public had no knowledge of. And these ideas have only become more popular with the rise of a new figure, Clavicular, a 19-year-old streamer whose entire philosophy rests on the idea that looks matter, and if you're not using his methods, you're gonna be left behind. Clav is definitely an interesting guy, and his popularity is more reflective of the culture that created him rather than his own personal successes or shortcomings. At the same time, he probably needs some serious help. And while on one hand I do feel bad for him, and on another he's pretty funny, how much sympathy can be extended to someone who tells his fans that steroids and meth are the way to ascend? This
Steroids, yes. Meth, not so much.
Is the story of Clav, the world's most popular looksmaxer. Clavicular was born in December.
Why are all the carnivore influencers, Frank, Saldino, Peterson, such hypochondriacs? And why would people take health advice from people who are scared of everything?
They appeal to that market of people, stupid people who are hypochondriacs and think everything's wrong with them. You'll also notice that these same people completely distrust conventional medicine, conventional wisdom. They think everything's a conspiracy. They're conspiracy brained as fuck. So they're just crazy, neurotic fuckwits. And that's who they appeal to. That's their market. Thanks for the donation, though, Chris.
December of 2005 to a wealthy family in the northeastern United States. Instead of public school, he attended an all-boys private high school, which just goes to show that his upbringing already set him apart from the average person. But even among his peers, his interests would diverge completely from the typical student. While most kids were studying and playing Call of Duty, Clav was getting into looksmaxing. As its name suggests, looksmaxing is the idea of improving your looks. The origins of this term are somewhat difficult to place, but today, the term is most commonly attributed to looksmax.org. Clav began browsing the site while in high school, supposedly coming to a personal epiphany. Looks matter above all else. If you don't have friends, it's because you're not good looking. Want to succeed in relationships? You need to be good looking. You want a dream job? Well, you also need to be good looking for that. Some basic methods for looksmaxing are pretty typical. Go to the gym, eat a balanced diet, get some sunlight so you don't look like you just rolled out of a coffin. But these are all things that people have been doing anyway. Your dad probably told you to go to the gym instead of playing Halo all night. Or maybe that was just me. But some looksmaxers are in favor of using more drastic methods. Clav claims that he was just 14 years old when he ordered testosterone off the internet for the first time. Obviously, testosterone is a naturally occurring hormone in all of us, but Clav was taking it to accelerate his...
There is a press conference now about the Brown shootings.
Maybe I'll take a look at that. Thanks for the donation, James. Oh my fucking god, I hate how it does that.
Develop whatever video evidence we can, which eventually led to all the steps that you've seen and are laid out in the affidavit, which is on our website, and it is multiple pages. You'll see the progression. So while the FBI were working Coventry, we were working here. Now you may ask, well, what was it about Coventry that made
Shots fired.
For those of us who've been in law enforcement for a long time, why did we have to run that lead to ground? Here's why. When the FBI confronted him, initially, he was not cooperative. When they entered the room to secure it, there were guns in the room. One of them had a laser sight. The witnesses had told us there was a laser sight used in the course of the attack. Okay, we had to run that to ground. We couldn't just, not run that to ground. That was a very promising lead. But that's why you don't get over your skis about, and word choice is important. So while we had to test those ballistics and test the DNA off those guns, and that DNA ruled this guy out, okay, but we had to run that lead to ground. But while we're running that lead to ground over the course of Sunday, for the most part, my memory's correct, we were working other leads, which eventually led us through a recreation by the great work of the team, including the marshals, by the way, that are up here. Movements, image of our cooperating witness, witness comes in, and you've heard the rest. So, you know, this is the way these investigations work. You don't chase one and stop. We have chased more than one lead over the course of the last 4 to 5 days. there was one lead that we followed, didn't work out. There was another lead that we followed, didn't work out. There was another lead that we followed, didn't work out. So that's, at least in my mind, 5 different leads that one worked out, 4 didn't. But you're running them all down at the same time. So I can't offer any comfort in that regard. But I don't believe that we would have found this person any sooner, given the evidence that was available to us.
The way back.
Can you say why it took so long to get the tip? It looks like he posted.
Freeze Nutillar's finance influencers are retarded.
Years ago, I was poor, like literally poor. My rent was $400 a month. I drove a 1999 GMC Sierra truck that hardly ran. The frame of the truck was literally rusted so bad that I thought it was gonna literally just like fall apart at any given moment. My friends didn't want to drive in the car because it was so bad. That was 6 years ago, and now my life is great.
It looks like he is not rich, and he's maybe living in Thailand.
I live in this beautiful house right on the water. I have a flourishing business, several of them. I have freedom. I can really do whatever I want. But the reason why I was able to do that and succeed so fast is because I never compared myself to anybody. When I started posting on social...
Oh, okay. I'll stop comparing myself to other people, and then money will appear in my bank account.
social media, people weren't getting supercars. People weren't flexing all the time.
Okay, I can't be fucked. Thanks for the worth. What's the point?
On Reddit on Monday, and then said on Reddit that he told the FBI. Was it lost in the FBI's tip?
We received the tip about that post and immediately acted on it. And so that's exactly what occurred. As soon as the tip came in, we had a tip center upstairs that was staffed, as I mentioned earlier, by detectives and agents. They were going through hundreds of tips that were coming in, hundreds. We were vetting them through, ruling them out, just like the general stated. We were making sure that whatever came in, we checked it to ensure that we weren't missing anything. And so when we got to that tip, obviously, it led us to that person that we wanted to speak with, and I told you the rest earlier. So. Yeah, and I just want to complete that too, because this is important. This person had to come forward. That's why we put the picture out. Once we put the picture out, he came forward, right? But we didn't know who that person was. We knew about what was on Reddit, but we didn't know who that person was. That's why when we identified another person, we didn't know when that person came forward that he was the Reddit poster. He then told us he was, okay? So all of these things kind of happened in that sequence.
Go ahead, Chris.
This Valente figure, this is a question for President Paxson. Do we know why he left school early in 2001? Did he have a history of mental illness that was expressed during that time or recorded in that time?
No, we learned his name very, very recently, and we haven't had a chance to really dig into the records. But we will if it helps with the investigation.
We're going to follow up question.
This is another question about a student visa. You said he's here on a student visa now. What school is he affiliated with if he's here?
General,
Yeah, so he's not here on a student visa now. He was initially, and then he applied for and received lawful permanent resident status in September of 2017. Okay?
Go right here.
What was Mr. Valente's profession, and have you searched his residence?
Again, as I stated earlier, we just identified who obviously that person, and this developed pretty quickly. So that's all part of the investigation that's coming.
And can you talk about, was there any interaction between him and law enforcement before he died?
No, not that we know.
I have a follow-up to her.
There you
and
go.
that is, do you know any associates of his family members, friends, roommates, and if there are any in the United States, did any of them come forward through the process of this investigation?
No, not at this time. This evolved extremely quickly. We've been at this for 6 days. And so here we are, and we now identify who the person is. We're about to make an apprehension. As I stated earlier, he took his own life. But that's all part of the investigation that will continue about him. Go ahead.
Okay, so for President Paxson, Chief Barrow said he had no known criminal history that you know of. You were asked about possible mental illness while he was here. When he was at Brown, did he have any grievances, disputes with anyone, any problems, any disciplinary issues, any problems at all that were documented?
Not that we know of at this point. I mean, again, these are very, very old records.
All right. Well, Yeah, killed himself.
His progress in the gym. Or, as he puts it, I started roids about 2 weeks after I started lifting. Why? Because natty gains are slow and gay.
What's up? I just want to give a comprehensive overview of SARMs, or selective androgen receptor modules.
Honestly, when you're in your mid-teens and you're a beginner lifter, going on steroids probably won't make the kind of difference you'd want it to make.
What I think about them, my experience with them, and if you should take them. Now, SARMs are not as researched as anabolic steroids, so we don't currently know the long-term side effects, so that risk is already present.
To make things simple, SARMs are essentially gourmet steroids. They're marketed as having less side effects than the stuff bodybuilders used to put up their butts, but at the same time, they do suppress natural testosterone production.
They're not gourmet steroids. They're just non-steroidal, but they have an effect on the androgen receptor. And they have more side effects, and they do cause suppression,
which can have some pretty noticeable side effects on your body. If you've ever seen a male bodybuilder develop fleshy man boobs, it's because they took steroids for some period of time and it messed up their hormones. But most bodybuilders are taking these performance enhancers after puberty has ended. Clav was starting them before he was even halfway through his natural development as a man. Based on his video, he's well aware of the risks, but it's a trade-off he was comfortable with because he claims to have gained 55 pounds of muscle in 12 weeks.
He did not.
It's also worth noting that this video is
He did not.
partially his own personal experiences, but it's also a promotion of these substances to anyone who stumbled across it. He recommends what to take if you're fat and want to lose weight, what to take if you're skinny and want to gain muscle.
Dude. He would have had to been like just super mega ultra emaciated if he gained 55 pounds of muscle in 12 weeks. He was never big. He's never been jacked.
Muscle and how to do it most effectively.
Now, there's a bit of an increased libido. Like, you might catch yourself, going on Tinder at 12 a.m. There's been times when I was on SARMs where I'd be on Tinder at 12 p.m., swiping on these ugly ass, let's not get into that, but
These videos are from 2022 and were seemingly recorded on the same day. During the rest of that year, and 2023, there doesn't seem to be any significant online activity from him. But that doesn't mean he was leaving internet life behind. You've probably heard at least one term like mogging, mewing, beta, alpha, and sigma males, red, blue, and black pills, virgin, Stacy, and Chad, among many others. What you probably don't know is that, like pretty much everything online nowadays, these terms originated in mostly right-wing forums and
Oh, it's poo-poo time. My butt is ready. Oh, I'm sorry, Gum Gum. Yeah, I gotta get up, little kitty. I love you, doe. Mwah. I love cuddling with my kitty while I'm streaming, but I gotta poop. Sometimes you poop too, I have to scoop up your poop. All right, I'm gonna take a shit. I'll be right back. I am back from pooping.
What's your opinion about Frank last short about LaFour implant surgery's never been done before? And no before and after pictures existing?
I have no idea if that's true or not. Like, I think he's saying specifically on people who don't have deformities or something, but... okay. You would imagine the only people who'd be motivated or would be allowed to get the surgery are people with deformities, so okay. Whatever. Thanks for the donation, dude.
Vegan gains are nigger.
Let me see. I fucking hate this guy.
About her plantation fantasies with you in the bedroom? Yeah. Oh my God. You damn cool. You're going to humiliate yourself and your ancestors so this snow bunny can get off. In the name of Martin Luther King Jr., I rebuke your ass. Amen. You will.
I like it when girls call me the N-word when having sex. It's fucking hot. Thanks for the donation, nigga.
Image boards from over a decade ago. Before LooksMax was popular, it had 3 spiritual predecessors. PUAHate.com, an anti-pickup artist forum, which mass shooter Elliot Rodger was active in. SlutHate.com, which was later renamed Red Pill Talk, and was once directly addressed by the inventor of mewing himself, Dr. Mike Mew.
The first response came from Incel Executioner. I do love some of the names you've got here.
And lookism.net, the latest and least relevant out of all of these. Many similar sites went the way of the dodo as their users found a more reliable place with faster servers that could host their discussions, Reddit. But in 2017, social media companies led a massive crackdown on anything that was deemed online extremism. Among the many casualties was the shutdown of the subreddit r/incels. On one hand, you had people saying that these communities were dangerous and needed to be purged from the web. But the opposing argument, apart from being in favor of freedom of speech generally, also had a foreboding warning. The idea that banning these communities from the general internet would cause a pressure cooker effect, where the people using them would just gather on more extreme platforms. And indeed, they did. The shutdown of r/incels instantly led to the creation of 4 different websites. Incels.is, which is a general forum for incels. Neats.net, created for people who are not in employment, education, or training. Sanctioned Death, a site that allegedly provides instructions on how to, And finally, looksmax.org. It's during 2024 that most of Clav's posts on this forum take place. One of the earliest posts I found is him replying to someone named Big Black Oily Booty, who claimed to be 15 years old. Clav replied to him saying, "Log out of this site and play with your friends. Don't ruin your mental development with autism." Unfortunately, this is advice that he himself did not take. 1 month or so after his 18th birthday, he made a post saying he had already gone on 4 steroid cycles, with doses as high as 550 milligrams of testosterone.
I'm surprised he'd need Aromacin if he's taking 200 milligrams masked. He's taken more steroids than I have at any one time, and he's made like no gains. He just looks like he's small even for a natural lifter. I haven't even taken doses this high. And he's tiny.
Weekly. For reference, the testosterone they give middle-aged men to get their T levels healthy tops out at 200. In the same post, he also notes that taking...
That's not true. Yeah, that's not remotely true. It's atypical, but I've seen testosterone replacement protocols as high as like 600. It's rare, but the goal is symptom relief, not just arbitrarily getting your testosterone within a certain range. So TRT can be anything. Like, there's not technically an upper limit to the dose you'd use.
How insane is this? Everyone in the comments is hating on him hard, saying that he lifted this weight with everything but his biceps. But dude, that's 400 pounds. Read comments, please.
I don't know why all these dumbasses do, like the cupping stuff and go to a chiropractor. Yeah, do they not understand that that's like 400 fucking pounds? And, yeah, like, the point isn't to just train the biceps. You're just trying to create, like, stupid, dumb fucking arm strength for arm wrestling. He lifted the weight with everything but his bicep. Yeah, right. Broke every rule of what a bicep curl. Like, they're just stupid. They're random nobodies on the fucking internet that are like dumbasses, like either dumbasses that don't understand the sport he's training for, or like they're just jealous haters who will talk shit no matter what. If he did that with absolute perfect form, you know, everything, you'd have like a bunch of these same people saying, oh, but he did it with steroids or some stupid shit. Like, you know, it's just dumb losers online. Thanks for the donation, Twinkle Nuts. Dodo, $22, what do you think happens tomorrow night? This'll answer a few questions. One, whether or not these fights are actually real. Because if he just annihilates Anthony Joshua and it's not convincing, then it's like, yeah, these are fake. It'll show whether or not Jake is actually a good boxer or not. So I'm expecting, assuming this is a real fight, Jake is going to get fucking annihilated. The size difference between the two is just fucking crazy. So yeah, I'm assuming Jake Paul's going to get fucking annihilated. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo.
Substances in the past had seriously affected his liver health, but this didn't seem to be a major concern for him. By age 16, he was spending $700 per steroid cycle, but somewhat ironically, his drug use ranked pretty low in terms.
Wait, what did he say? Okay.
Had seriously affected his liver health, but this didn't seem to be a major concern for him. By age 16, he was spending $700 per steroid cycle.
Yeah, that was literally counting everything: needles, lab work, Accutane. Like, this is over several months as well. Like, considering the doses, like, maybe he was spending $60-70 a month.
But somewhat ironically, his drug use ranked pretty low in terms of bizarre methods he was using to supposedly improve his looks. While looks maxers believe that your body is an important part of improving your looks, equally important is your face. Having a strong jawline, high cheekbones, and hunter eyes are heralded as the pinnacles of looks maxing.
Everyone talks about getting hunter eyes, and everyone talks about a positive canthal tilt, but no one tells the truth. Here's the full guide on how to actually get hunter eyes.
According to Clav, one of the methods he used was called thumb pulling, which entailed pulling the roof of his mouth outwards to widen his jaw. He also chewed gum, which supposedly helped his jawline as well. All of these are obviously unconventional, but the strangest method is bone smashing. The idea that by lightly hitting your face with a hammer or other object, you can create microfractures that, when healed, supposedly enlarge or strengthen the bones underneath.
I know it hurts, but that means it's working. That's the only indication. You have to push past the pain. Look at me.
While he acknowledges acknowledges that the effects of bone smashing are most likely not permanent, he still claims that it swells up his face and makes him look more defined. Although I'm not sure I see much of a difference in this before and after, other than lighting. Now, one question you're probably asking after seeing all of this is, why? Clav was already a reasonably attractive person before any of this, and it was all due to genetics. Were the steroids...
I am so glad that I have stayed a true natural vegan bodybuilder.
Well, it's personal choice, you know. Thanks for the donation, though, James. Amazon won't let me order syringes because of laws in my state. That sounds pretty retarded. You can just go down to the pharmacy and ask for needles. Not a big deal. Thanks for the... Well, wait, you didn't donate.
Strange techniques, and thousands of dollars spent really worth it? I would argue no, especially since two major things he was seemingly ignoring were his mental well-being and his general social skills. In one post, he states that he dreads going to get haircuts because, as he puts it, I'd rather look homeless than have to talk to someone for 30 minutes straight. God, I want a rope max. He even went as far as making an entire thread about his crippling social anxiety. I dread talking to people in real life, even if it's for 30 seconds. I'd do anything to avoid those awkward, meaningless exchanges. Here's how I say 50 words or less per day. I wake up 30 minutes earlier than I have to, so I don't have to see my parents in the morning. I get up at 6 a.m. for school, even though I don't start for like 2 hours after that. I just sit in my car and wait for it to start. Don't walk into class first or last, both of which draw attention, which I don't want. I just walk in the middle of the pack so no one notices. Sit in the middle of the room. Sitting in the back may cause the teacher to cold call you to try to catch you not paying attention. Sitting in the middle has allowed me to never get called on for a question the entire year. Keep eye contact with the teacher and divert your attention whenever she looks at you to another person. Also, never use your phone when you're not supposed to. She will go out of her way to embarrass you. Don't follow anyone on Instagram. This will make it awkward to walk by them. Am I supposed to greet this person now? I don't want one.
Never participate in class discussions.
Start counting your words. You shouldn't be saying more than 50 to 100 words per day. I have gone entire days without speaking before. This should be your goal. When walking into a room, don't make eye contact with anyone. If I need to, just give them a nod and walk the other way. During lunch, I always sit in the library and fast, so that I don't have to go through the shame of eating lunch alone. This will cause social stigma. Don't be this kid. Just go somewhere else. When I get home, I try to go straight to my room without seeing my parents. I always greet my dog though, because I love her. This is the only female I will ever feel a
It's all starting to make sense.
Connection to. I care greatly for my dog because she gets so happy when I come home from school. When I go to have my pre-workout meal, I eat it at an obscure time to avoid overlapping dinner with the rest of my family who are always home. At the gym, I always wear a hoodie and sweatpants, dark colors to be unapproachable. This is ideal. Never wear deodorant to the gym. No one asks you to work in, ever, if you smell really bad. Only do this at the gym, not anywhere else because it draws attention. When I get home, I go straight to my room to come on looksmax.org or incels.is for the rest of the night. Sometimes I watch a movie. I recommend you try to go an entire day doing your normal regime without talking. Whenever I talk, I give away my blue pill and reveal my mental issues. I used to have a therapist, but stopped going because of how dreadful it is. They constantly try to blue pill you and warp your sense of reality. On one hand, I think some of this post is exaggerated to get attention from other people on the forum. One user would even reply simply stating, "This is what people on this website do," and then they complain they get no attention from women. At the same time, social anxiety might be something that affects him. In one post, he claims that in real life he's generally perceived as a pretty normal guy. He says he has no problem speaking to girls or giving class presentations. But whenever he posts on the forum, people immediately sense his social awkwardness. It almost seems like he cares more about users on this website liking him than people in his real life. On that same note, one strange pattern I notice with his posts are the complete contradictions. For example, he ends this one post with this sentence: "You guys who bang and jerk off multiple times a week disgust me." Okay, fair enough, I guess. In the same post, he says that he pumps and dumps girls bi-weekly, which I assume means he was having casual hookups with women every other week. But in another post just 2 days after, he says, "I wind up gooning once every couple of days." Obviously, these posts are in complete conflict with each other. On one hand, he hates people who have sex and goon. On the other, he also does both of these things. Clav was trying his best to make it out of the hood at this point in his life. While he was attending high school and college, his academic pursuits seemed far less interesting.
They're not necessarily in conflict with one another. He could just be a hypocrite. Like, that is a possibility.
To him than what was happening online, which, to be honest, is one thing I definitely relate to him on. He had already started a TikTok account to show his transformations to the world and generate a little bit of conversation online about it. But he was still trying to create some separation between his real life and what was happening online. At one point, he shared his list of things to...
What is his height and weight?
I think Clive is like 6 foot, maybe 180 pounds. Thanks for the donation, James. He might even be less than that, like maybe 170.
Never talk about with normies. This includes seed oils and food dyes, asking for food to be cooked in grass-fed butter, JFK assassination, tap water filled with estrogen, COVID vaccines, Michelle Obama's gender, Volkswagen Tiguan, Hollywood pedophiles, women's right to vote, how epic 05 Tacomas are, saying the phrase based and red-pilled, Holocaust death count, crime statistics, homosexuals, Kanye West, weightlifting and macros, car modding, the word kek, race relations, and finally Queen Cleopatra's race. Now you may have some questions about many of these things, but if you're wondering about the Volkswagen Tiguan specifically, he says, I took a true Stacy on a date and ranted about how much I hate the Volkswagen Tiguan, which apparently dried her pussy out. Don't recommend talking about that. But as time passed, the line between his online activity and his normal life began to blur. In one post, he talks about how some girl he was talking to looked up his TikTok handle and from there found his account on Looksmax, along with the post where he talked about his dick size. On the forum, Clav's struggles with online dating are pretty well documented. He can be seen asking for help on what kind of pictures to put on his profile to get better matches, while also complaining about how incapable he is of holding any kind of conversation with the women he does end up matching with. This would be a persistent issue for him, to the point where he made a YouTube video about it.
My biggest point of contention recently has been online dating. I don't know where I'm going wrong, which is why it's so frustrating. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. And there's just no real way to be logical when you're texting these girls. There's no feedback system. They'll just stop texting you out of nowhere. Like, you'll just be texting a girl, having a normal conversation.
Yeah, this is a teenage kid who literally just does not understand dating.
Just no reply. Cast for the ghost. At that point, it's not like, okay, well, this is what it's not like a game where you could go and do some like game film after the fact and say, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I pushed it over the line. Just be a perfectly normal conversation. Well, I could be. What did I do? How about that? How about you do me the courtesy of, after all these conversations and text messages that I don't even want to. You think I would have talked about your hobbies? Bitch, I want to get in your pants, goddammit. And I want to convince you that I'm not trying to you, which is why I'm having the conversation.
And to be honest, I think some of this experience is probably relatable to a lot of guys. What hopefully isn't relatable is that in some of his other posts, his conclusion was basically to give up on dating altogether. This really comes to a head with one thread.
Yeah. It's a waste of fucking time. Once you get over that, life is so much better.
Simply titled, Masturbating Mog's Sex with Girls. I'd rather goon 24/7 than have to cope and jester on dating apps or cold approach a dumb girl. Conversing with low IQ primitive women is insanely difficult for me, an autist, and I can't fake the interaction for over 5 minutes. Pussy doesn't feel as good as my hand death gripping my cock on my triple monitor setup. Girls give you AIDS and take your money. Plus when I jerk off, I can sit on my hand till it's numb and pretend a blonde Stacy is jerking me. How poetic.
God, I'm gooning.
It's probably worth noting here that taking steroids can also screw up your sex drive, with some drugs causing it to go through the roof, while others will cause it to plummet to the point where erections are basically impossible. By this point, it's clear that his looks maxing had very little to do with being successful with women, and instead, it had warped into some strange mixture of vanity and personal obsession, and his methods would once again become increasingly bizarre. He began taking an interest in plastic surgery. Some posts detail him dropping some money on small things like cyst removals, while others had him asking other forum users how he could perform surgery on himself. And depending on what you qualify as plastic surgery, he's actually done it on himself multiple times. While I can't show it on YouTube, there's multiple videos of him injecting himself with something called lemon bottle, which is a controversial substance that supposedly dissolves fat in your body. In time, this became a regular part of his regimen, along with another method, using PDO threads. From what I can tell, PDO threads are basically the temporary tattoo equivalent of facelifts. Small, dissolvable strings that go under your skin and stimulate collagen production while making your face look tighter. I can't speak as to how risky or effective they are, but I also don't think it's good to do it as much as Clav does.
We're probably gonna do 4 more to get maximum hunter eyes.
And these methods also don't just stop at improving his face card. He claims to have injected lemon bottle into the base of his shaft, as well as sticking PDO threads into it. I did 8 threads.
Well, he didn't inject it at the base of his shaft. It's the pubic area, right? He tried the PDO threads in his penis.
as sticking PDO threads into it. I did 8 threads in total today. I only went about a 1/4 inch in to mog the BBCs on the forum. I don't think anyone has ever written something like that before in all of human history, so I guess I have to give him points for being original. Even other people on the site told him this was a horrible idea, as basically every reply is calling him stupid or mourning the loss of his penile function. Since we're on the topic, he also does dick ups, which are exactly what they sound like. You awaken the ancient one, and you flex it up as hard as possible for 4 sets of 12. And to progress the exercise, you can add a hand towel on top of it. According to Clav, he was up to 4 hand towels and had gained 1/2 inch of girth. Of course, the looks maxing journey never ends, and even this stuff is really just the tip of the iceberg. Clav made several posts about wanting to get some more serious plastic surgeries. He explored getting an Ollaplasty.
Dodo Donatellas, do you think you would like having a fancy finance job in New York on Wall Street? No, because that would be a job. I'd rather watch cartoons. But thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Which alters the appearance of your nostrils, a rhinoplasty, which changes the bridge of your nose, and of course, Botox insertions. As for Botox, he didn't want to get it done by a doctor. Instead, he was interested in doing it himself, asking members of the forum where he could get it online. But eventually, he went and had it done by a professional.
You do not want to give yourself Botox injections.
Stiff, emotionless appearance. It's at this point that we begin to see the line being crossed, as Clav goes from exclusively affecting himself with his antics to potentially affecting other people in a variety of ways. One of his biggest threads from this era features him taking pride in banging a girl who is in a relationship. What's funnier, or more strange about it, depending on how you look at it, is that he recorded audio of her crying about it afterwards to own her. Besides this, he frequently expressed his pride about purposely tricking people on TikTok into doing fake looks maxing techniques. This would be taken to the next level when, after enrolling in college, Clav was outright planning to start doing Botox injections for other students to make a quick buck. Funnily enough, before he expressed his intention to do this, he was concerned about being kicked out if the college ever found his social media accounts, only to turn around and make plans to run a plastic surgery operation out of his dorm. He also made some other thread announcing that he won't be paying taxes. I guess that one is kind of based, I can't lie. Whether true or not, it seems like his concern about being kicked out of college is performative. If anything, it seemed he was looking forward to it, as it would give him an excuse to completely give up on trying to live a normal life so that he can go all in on being an online personality, as he was already trying to do at this point through his TikTok and YouTube. Clav found himself not being invited out by anyone, and even when he did get with a woman, he had to be on multiple drugs to be able to perform due to his severe erectile dysfunction, because of course he had ED. He was also posting TikToks during this time period with captions like, 99% of people are utterly repulsive to even look at. They should be grateful when I'm in their presence. I'll make a brief detour here to cover one of the stranger oddities in Clav's story. I lean toward it not being true, but given that he later walked back and edited the thread to erase it, I honestly can't be sure. Fortunately for us, the original thread was maintained via a quote in one of the replies, and although the overall details aren't really important, the story basically goes that a girl he liked started dating a Chad, so his response was to wait for her outside her house and literally flash her naked in a trench coat. The girl was startled and dropped her phone as she ran away, which Clav proceeded to pick up, post a picture of his balls to her Snapchat, and then Venmo himself $250. Again, this is what Clav is claiming in the post. It could easily be a tall tale, but in any case, that's simultaneously hilarious and horrifying. At this point, Clav had already soured so much on the idea of college that he began to make threads recommending that instead of spending
That's pretty hilarious. N-word, don't you tell us how dumb is this in your opinion? Faggot, also, Heil Hitler, Sig Heil, fuck the colored gross people.
Mom. Jesus Christ. God damn. Oh. Dad! Oh. Eddie? Mom. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's what grandmas do. Thanks for the donation, dude. It's pretty dumb. I sort of did something similar. I was working on my motorcycle and stuff, so I had a bunch of like used, oil rags on the floor, and I was replacing one of the tires and I couldn't get the bead to pop on. I only have like a normal tire inflator. So I was trying to get the bead to pop on. What I did was I got starter fluid and I put it inside the tire and I lit it to try to get it to like explode and pop onto the bead. It almost worked, but what happened was there was like this big flame that shot out of the tire. And then it set a bunch of the rags on the floor on fire. And it was starting to get like really big. There was like fire all around me in the garage. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was worried I was going to set like the garage on fire. I was able to stamp it out, but it was actually a little worrying.
Surgeries to be an influencer, which is basically a projection of his own aspirations, as he was already saving for a $25,000 surgery anyway. Another traumatic event that may have contributed to his hatred for education is the piss
Mog incident.
I'll let him tell it in his own words. I went to the bathroom to pee before lunch. I didn't really have to go. I just wanted to do it proactively, so I wouldn't have to go later at a less optimal time. I'm extremely piss shy. I hate the idea of peeing next to someone at a urinal. It feels so embarrassing, and the pee never comes out. Anyone else have this? So I always go to the stall to pee. This time it's me and this BBC. He walks into the stall next to me. I start my pee stream, and it's kinda quiet and weak. I can tell the BBC is laughing at my subhuman stream. He whips it out and produces the most girthful and powerful stream I've ever experienced. Mogs me to Gandhi with his beautiful, luscious stream. I truly want to end it. Indeed, that is a fate worse than death. Clav was clearly becoming more serious about his looks maxing efforts now, as he started taking more drugs, including a daily dose of erectile dysfunction pills, and looking into preemptively taking osteoporosis meds to try to grow his bones. At the same time, his online activity and his real life once again began to mix together. He was keeping lidocaine, a local anesthetic, in his bedroom so that he could numb himself while performing his procedures. His mom found it and was not very pleased. She stole the package of lidocaine, and I'm losing my mind right now. I spent $40 and she took it because it's dangerous. I tried to lie, and she went on a blue pill rant about how I'm not a doctor. I'm genuinely seething and raging like you wouldn't believe right now. Now I have to find a way to buy it without them knowing. As his parents started to get wise to his schemes, he got a job as a bouncer so that he could make his own money, and then made a plan to order steroids without anyone, not even his parents, finding out. With this newfound ability to blast away without a care in the world, it's at this point that he actually came to terms with how far he had taken looks maxing. Was all of this really worth it? The hundreds of posts to strangers online, the constant worrying about people in real life finding out about his strange habits, his parents' disappointment in his behavior, he decided it was time to just give it all up, to walk away. And that's the end of the video. Just kidding. He started taking Tren, one of the most infamous anabolic steroids due to how absolutely insane its effects are. He even started promoting it on the forum. When someone claiming to be 14 years old using the site asked what drugs they should use, Clavicular gave him a detailed list of what he thinks he should take. With this
this is retarded. Like, so stupid. If you're taking Test and Nandrolone, that is the most surefire, guaranteed way to give yourself gynecomastia. Like, without fail. Especially when you see these dudes who, like, just start taking steroids, like, they just suddenly blow up with gyno, and you're like, what the fuck? That's from Test Deca cycles. Those combinations of drugs just fucking blow your fucking nipples up. Nandrolone like increases the potency of estrogen, basically. So for him to recommend that, like, that's just fucking stupid. Like, especially for somebody who's just starting steroids, like, why the fuck would you do this?
supposed
plus mass plus AI, like, why would you use 4 different anabolic steroids at once when you're just starting? It's retarded.
14-year-old simply replying, "Thank you." Obviously, anyone can just lie about their age on any website, so it's impossible to know if this was truly a kid or not, but Clav himself had now gone from someone who was socially awkward and wanted to improve his looks in early high school to a legal adult who was promoting harmful steroid use to children. Keep in mind, during this time period, Clav was downright bragging that he didn't even lift. He just took steroids and then got 5 times the results of, quote, natural subhuman dogs.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
His disdain for gym bros is so strong that he scoffed at how they pose in the gym's mirror. Gym bros are retarded. I just flex in a handicapped bathroom, if anything. Clav's ability to freewheel his steroid cycle and also still attending classes created a bit of a golden age in terms of his posts, and there are a lot of funny threads from this period. For example, there's one where he
well, that explains why he has, like, no gains.
recommends self-induced laryngitis as a means to achieve a mogger voice, as well as his brave declaration that asking people for pictures of their penis is not gay as long as it's to check for aesthetics. As far as his own, he provided updated measurements, claiming that his routines had produced an increase of 0.75 inches. Although I do wonder if he's still getting piss-mogged in the bathroom. There's also one instance of him asking some guy what his mom's poop smelled like, which I'm not really sure about the motivation behind. I guess not every post can be a gem, which includes his response to a thread asking looksmaxing users what they think about predator catchers on YouTube, with Clav himself replying, "Awful, bro. It's literal entrapment to ask incels to fuck, even if they are underage. They never got that treatment, so it's unexpected to them." He felt so strongly about this topic that he even went as far as to make an entire thread about it. Although it is worth noting that in the thread, he does say he thinks texting minors inappropriately is wrong. Regardless of whatever was happening on the forum, as long as that was the only place he was posting, Clav knew that his reach would be limited. So, as terms like mogging and mewing became more popular parts of the modern internet's vocabulary, he began exploring new avenues to become a bona fide internet celebrity. In June 2024, we have one of the first instances of Clav going viral online with this picture, which was reposted to Reddit and then Twitter after he had first posted it to the Looksmax forum. Now, if you've been on 4chan or other sites for a long time, you might be thinking to yourself that you've seen this way before June 2024. That's because Clav's picture is most likely a rehash of this old meme from the 4chan Fit board, which was also reposted a ton over the years. But Clav's version would see a much more widespread appeal, getting nearly 12 million views.
That's pretty funny.
On Twitter and bringing him a lot closer to his goal of becoming an online personality. Besides that, he was also getting some interesting results in terms of his looks maxing. Despite having to take 3 different meds to treat his erectile dysfunction and use a penis.
Wait, fuck.
He was also getting some interesting results in terms of his looks maxing. Despite having to take
I don't know what Viagra is normally dosed at. But yeah, that's a fair bit.
Take 3 different meds to treat his erectile dysfunction and use a penis pump, he claims he slept with nearly 100 women. Unfortunately, this came with the side effect of being seen as someone who will say anything and do anything in order to have sex with as many women as possible. After a few months, it was increasingly hard to continue picking up girls from his school. Naturally, this led him to go back to doing what he does best, bragging and arguing with random people on the forum to prove that he's an ascended Chad. And although I thankfully haven't stumbled across it, he claims that he's posted pictures of himself having.
Like, the thing is, he's admitted to having, like, issues with social anxiety, and he's also pretty insecure, obviously. So I don't know how much of his erectile dysfunction you can contribute to or attribute to steroids. Like, it's very likely just a psychological issue he has. So
sex on the forum. Now I think is as good a time as any to talk about what it means to ascend. There's an idea within looksmaxing that at some point you have basically achieved your ultimate goal of being at the highest possible level of physical attractiveness, at which point you can mog or look better than anyone around you.
I don't really give a shit about getting girls. I just want to mog. Like mog. If you guys mogging?
No.
It means basically like looking better than someone. Like so you want to mog like people. Like with girls you could just have game status. It's just like everyone could do it at the end of the day. But to actually mog, like you gotta be
who the hell is this?
Either genetically blessed or really work for it. So that's what I'm trying to do.
You may have noticed that despite
is that like a homeless woman?
Having entered college, there's basically no information on what he was actually trying to get a degree in. That's because it probably didn't matter to him at all. The most I was able to find in direct relation to him going to college was when he made a thread saying you could get college loans and then use them to get plastic surgery. Although this is just one of many threads he's made about getting loans for plastic surgery. Finally, after months of doing nothing but having fun, his mom once again found his roid stash. But this time, he managed to convince her to let him keep it with the argument that he's an adult and paid for all of it himself. However, it's really important to say that simply calling it a roid stash is not really correct. While there were plenty of roids in there, Clav points out that there was 1 kilogram of pregab. What he's referring to is the medication pregabalin, which is used to treat epilepsy and anxiety, which he had been taking in order to chemically make himself low inhib. So he was basically taking it to feel less self-conscious and high anxiety. From the first day he went to college, he was dosing himself with pregabalin and baclofen. Now, unlike pregab, which has more psychological effects, baclofen is a straight-up muscle relaxant that, while not a benzo, has similar withdrawal results because of how strong it can be. His reason for taking these is so that he can cold approach girls constantly, as he claims he's unable to do so otherwise. Interestingly, he eventually evolved his stack to also include beer. From now on, I will drink a beer of some kind every 90 minutes. I haven't decided which one I'll drink.
Dude, this guy is unhinged.
But more than likely an IPA since it's high calories. The ethanol will intoxicate me to make me low inhib and happy. The intoxication will be subtle, so it's good to do at work and you can still be giga productive. I'll just sprinkle 1 milligram of aromacin into each beer to counter the estrogen, the only bad side effect of beer maxing. Number 1 coping/bulk.
Yeah, that's the only negative side effect of drinking a beer every 90 minutes. Oh my god, this guy's retarded.
/low inhib strat. It didn't take long for him to announce in a thread that he had grown to basically do nothing all day but drink and try to get with women, all while asking the forum for more ideas of drugs he could take, with his own suggestions being meth or nicotine. We're gonna come back to the meth thing later, but to the surprise of no one, his first criminal charges came soon after he began more conventional drug use. In August 2024, he was charged with misdemeanor assault and battery on a 56-year-old woman, as well as felony assault and battery on a 63-year-old man. Kiwi Farms user Colonel Sugar Lemons was the one who dumped all the information related to this case. The story goes that around 11 p.m., an altercation broke out over 2 members of a large wedding party who were allegedly pulling on bras hanging from the ceiling in the bar area. Clav approached them, told them to stop, and they initiated a fight, leading to an all-out brawl. So far, not really anything unreasonable from Clav, but it appears that during the chaos, he was throwing punches at someone's mom, the 56-year-old woman listed in the charges. Now, I am going to say here that he most likely didn't do it on purpose, especially since these charges were dropped. However, I also think it's likely that his employer wasn't aware that one of his bouncers was regularly drunk and drugged up to the gills while on the shift. If any legal situation like this happens, and for whatever reason, Clav gets tested for drugs, he is an automatic liability and is a lot more likely to be considered culpable. But regardless, he got away with being an alcoholic, pregabalin, and baclofen fiend. Ironically enough, what he didn't get away with was the steroids. After getting his mom to stop giving him grief over his looks maxing, his activity on the forum would finally catch up to him when another user sent his post history to his school.
I was kicked out of uni for essentially roid maxing and, looks maxing. Whatever the term you want to use is. Unfortunately, someone decided to archive all of my posts and apparently find out where I went to university and send them all to the public safety at my university, detailing all my alleged activities, which prompted them, the university, to do a search of my room and uncover certain looks maxing peptides and, things like hormones and, TRT, whatnot. In this gestured clown world of America, that's illegal. Testosterone is illegal, guys. You're not actually allowed to do it without a extremely gestured prescription that I can't afford. I don't have health insurance. So I was using underground labs to source testosterone. Like, I'm sorry, but I can't afford to go through like some of these online clinics or like an endocrinologist. It's, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a broke 18-year-old and I live at home, with my grandma. So it's like, to go ahead and go through the legal route and spend all this extra money rather than just source it on my own just seemed incredibly gestured to me, and that's why I went ahead and made the decision.
On one hand, I honestly do feel bad for Clav. It's not a good thing to maliciously contact the college with the intent of harming him in some way. That kind of behavior never comes from a good place. With that being said, he really did everything in his power to allow this to happen. From making almost no effort to separate his personal life from his looks maxing endeavors, to outright bragging about his very questionable activity on campus, which included him saying he was going to do DIY Botox injections on other students, among many other things. Even if the only thing that got him in trouble was the testosterone he had, he claims he doesn't get it legally because he can't afford health insurance. But at the same time, he has a dozen threads about how much money he's planning to dump into plastic surgeries, so I'm not sure how sincere that is. His focus on the importance of looks maxing comes through pretty clearly, as just moments after remarking about how mean-spirited people online can be, he's describing being kicked out as a blessing in disguise.
Now I am able to fully dedicate my time to looks maxing, so I think this is going to wind up being a blessing in the end.
The end of college would also mark the end of any normalcy for Clav. He was now fully committed to becoming a popular looks maxing influencer. His next video is titled, "I Started Tren at 18, and so should you," which should really give you an idea of what kind of approach
you should not.
He was now embracing. Within just a few months of being kicked out, you can clearly see how much further he was going into the abyss, getting an
Natty Cope destroyed our Nutilers. Used to frequent Looks Max PSL communities years ago, 2017. Plastic and based on shock value. Most of the shit Clav was posting was to get a reaction and heavily exaggerated. I see. It's, it's just fucking dude shit posting. Thanks for the donation, though, Natty Cope Destroyer.
$86 penis pump, getting on multiple weight loss drugs like Mounjaro and DNP, and on top of that, partying. During these parties,
Dude, DNP is so stupid.
would do coke, along with drinking alcohol and taking baclofen. Not to mention the other stuff he was already taking, such as steroids, his dick pills, etc. Obviously, even by normal partying standards, this is a pretty impressive cocktail, and these habits would eventually lead him to crash his car. Body cam footage of the aftermath has been released, and we can see that he basically drove into a ditch on a narrow road. But that's much less informative than what Clav himself said in a post about the incident. I was nodding off on the way home and crashed into a fence. It'll cost me at least $2 to $3 grand. Surgery delayed once again. The cops didn't care that I was intoxicated. I'm boys with them. We work out at the gym. It's interesting that his greatest concern was not that he could have hurt someone or hurt himself. His main priority was that the crash was delaying one of his many planned surgeries. The first reply this thread got is someone pointing out that he could have taken the life of an innocent person while driving in that state, which honestly restored my faith in this website a bit overall. For any reasonable person, this would be a wake-up call to, you know, not be strung out on everything all the time. Maybe a lifestyle change. But for Clav, it was just another obstacle to his ascension. Now that he was getting more attention online through TikTok and these minor scandals, Clav decided it was time to cash in a bit.
If you're tired of being invisible to women, tired of getting rejected, and tired of watching other guys who won the genetic lottery take what's yours, then pay attention. Because what I'm about to show you will completely transform your face and physique in ways that you didn't even think were possible. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. You have been lied to. They told you just be confident, just be yourself, looks don't matter. But you and I both know that's complete bullshit.
Yeah, he opened a coaching page where he charges people $49 every month to have access to his methods. I'm not sure how much money this page was making when it started, but the landing page claims to have 1,500 members, which could add up to quite a bit of money. Now, I usually try not to hate on someone's bag too much. After all, I am a believer in good old American capitalism. But given the advice that we've seen him give out to people so far, my hopes for this school are pretty low. But with the money coming in, he posted on LooksMax saying he filled out a loan application for surgery, specifically maxilla surgery. This is surgery that will radically restructure his face and is another step in his quest to ascend. His posts around this time also got even more questionable. In one post, he writes about how he makes sure that he explodes inside of the better-looking girls he's been with to pass on his genes. Hopefully, we don't get a low-tier god situation here.
Say it louder! I've abandoned my child!
In another post that's definitely trolling, he criticizes people who wash their ass, calling it gay. As 2025 approached, he found himself wondering why all the women left around him were extremely promiscuous, and then revealed that he is now in $50,000 worth of medical debt, which he has no intention of paying off. Could he be lying about some of these details? Sure, but the overall point still stands. The shark has been jumped, and he is past the point of no return here. His delusions go so far that he went to an orthodontist and began, quote, dropping nuclear black pills on him, all to walk out with $7,500 worth of Invisalign to fix his teeth, because apparently that's something he's very insecure about. Another thing he's never managed to figure out with his drug stacks is his facial hair, which eventually led him to draw a mustache on with an eyebrow pencil because, according to him, it makes him look like a dad. I really hope stuff like this in particular is trolling due to how downright stupid this looks. Like clockwork, Clav has some brief moments where he attempts to produce something resembling self-awareness and makes the odd thread about how you shouldn't be doing drugs besides steroids and alcohol. But in no time flat, he's back to making brag threads about how he had fun at the club on 400 milligrams of pregab and 65 of baclofen. Keep in mind, he had been living with his grandma at this point, I assume the same one from the picture, and he spent his free time making threads on LooksMaxing about how he had taken the sociopath pill, and he was gonna fool every normie into thinking he was a normal guy from his Instagram pictures. If you're not 14 and you're still LARPing about how you're like Dexter Morgan or Patrick Bateman, it is verifiably over for you. But the thing about being a deceptive and manipulative person is that over time, people do catch on to you, and you need to move elsewhere to keep running your racket. Naturally, by April, Clav did just that, and moved to LA, where he said it was infinitely easier to fuck. Probably true, to be honest. In his yearning to try and emulate the behavior of the popular normies, he doubled down on his TikToks and his streams on Twitch. But this move was showing some signs of taking its toll on him, as he once again spoke about trying to be sober from alcohol. But as we're gonna get into soon, this sobriety is not really something he takes seriously. He literally just means not drinking alcohol. Other stuff is still on the table. Just a few months into 2025, something pretty strange popped up in his public records. This was brought forward by Kiwi Farms user Colonel Sugar Lemons, once again, who provided paperwork showing that in February 2025, Clavicular had been served with a restraining order that ensured he wouldn't abuse, contact, or come within 100 yards of an anonymous woman. And he also had to surrender any firearms he had to the police. Now, I wasn't able to find any more third-party information on this, but once someone else made a video about him that included the information about his restraining order, he responded by saying this: the restraining order thing was even more outrageous. I made a joke on Discord that got me in actual trouble. If you think we have free speech in America, think again. I'm so done with people coming in and trying to subvert LooksMaxing into something it was never supposed to be. This is very similar to the things he was saying when he got kicked out of college. The idea that he was punished for just LooksMaxing, which is pretty insincere, leading me to believe that he may not be telling the full story here either. However, I will say that the person who made that video on him with the information about the restraining order is herself a LooksMaxer, so I don't know the motivation behind her making her video. Ultimately,
weird. Don't know there are women looks maxers. I've only seen dudes who are into it.
These hiccups did very little to prevent Clav from gaining popularity, as the wider internet was becoming increasingly fascinated by his posts. And his hat. This newfound explosion through Instagram Reels and TikTok would lead to what many have called his generational run, where he basically just goes on a bunch of podcasts and talks about himself. The first one that I saw was when he did a stream with Nick Fuentes, where he talked about his plan to double jaw surgery.
So the plan is the double jaw surgery.
Right.
And that brings it forward and makes it wider and bigger?
Forward and down.
And down.
And downdraft, yeah.
Giga Chad.
To most people, it's clear that this is a totally unnecessary operation, but at this point, Clav has gone so far with his endeavors that he doesn't really see it as much of an issue. And
all women are looks maxers, they just don't call themselves that. Well, I guess a lot of them are. I've seen some like disgusting fat bitches who just eat like fucking anything.
I use crystal, so methamphetamine, as a stimulant, and to lean max, right? It's very suppressant of your appetite. It's a very long-acting stimulant. So this is something that I've started using in place of Adderall. I'm pretty much using meth for hollow cheeks.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at in terms of looks maxing.
while he goes on to defend his use by saying he takes a very low dose, there's honestly nothing he could say to convince me that ordering the big blue off the internet to lean max and get hollow cheeks is a good idea. His surgical ambitions have also gone.
Natty Cope, Destroyer, Nutillers, what's your take on the pump and dumping? I find it hypocritical. Clav regularly shames sluts and yet regularly partakes in it. Yeah, it is hypocritical. Seems he cares a lot about coming off as a jock player to impress other dudes for social status points. He seems to be mad at girls. Like, it's really weird. The slut shaming thing, but he has like tons of promiscuous sex. Like, it seems like he's just mad at girls because they're not giving him what he wants. So, you know, really, really strange. Thanks for the donation though, Natty Cup Destroyer.
On even farther, as he wants to get a type of surgery where both of your legs are broken and then slowly pulled apart while the body forms new bone in its place, with the idea being that once the surgery is complete, you'll be multiple inches taller. Keep in mind here, Clav is already 6'2", and he wants to be 6'6". He also expresses total confidence that he isn't insecure, and instead, all of his decisions are informed by pure logic and rationality. Right before he says he'll be getting the jaw surgery in Turkey for $35,000, and then says that the height surgery will cost him $100,000. Now, despite how bizarre Clav is as a person, he actually does a decent job of presenting his worldview convincingly, and it's undeniable that he's pretty well spoken. While his appearance on stream with Nick Fuentes and the Jack Neal podcast were pretty popular, it was Fresh and Fit, a Red Pill podcast you may remember from when Andrew Tate was taking over the internet, that really blew the lid off, spawning a lot of edits of him on Instagram.
Please do. So her alar base, the width of her nose is incredibly large. Her nasal bridge is incredibly wide. You know, obviously you've got bimaxillary protrusion. So you know your bite is all off. Just everything is wrong.
That's fine.
Yeah. So just I would rate you the lowest, definitely on the panel.
What's the number?
I would arguably say like 1.5 or 2, like genetic defect, dead end.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm actually writing this shit down.
But whatever value he offers as a content creator is constantly negated by the stuff he actually gets up to in his endeavors to looks max. As his popularity increased, so did his revolving door of drug use.
Why the HCG? So that my testicles aren't the size of a shriveled up raisin. I was kind of getting a little sick and tired of that. You know, it really has a wear and tear on your mental. If you're just you guys know like a raisin in the sun? That was pretty much my nutsack, was a raisin in the sun.
This guy's life is...
I haven't noticed testicular shrinkage yet.
Basically a never-ending revolving door of drugs that cause issues and are then supplemented by other drugs which then need their own solutions, and it goes on and on. He took SARMs to improve his gym performance. Then he had to take testosterone because his body was no longer producing it naturally. Then his balls got small, so now he has to take the ball drug. But at the same time, his dick isn't working, so he has to take Cialis. As all of this is going on, he has really high anxiety, maybe related to his general temperament, maybe due to the drugs he's taking, so his solution is to drink and take baclofen. It's just never ending. There was a brief period in which Clav tried to act as if he had moved past his life of sleeping around and had gotten into a relationship, but it didn't last very long, and soon enough, he went back to jester maxing on TikTok for online attention from randoms, making videos about how to increase your IQ and the size of your meat, all while bragging about how easily he can get replies on looksmaxing.org, but doesn't care about it at all and has ascended past it. This is probably Clav approaching his least self-aware state, as he begins committing the most common internet guy mistake, engaging with your haters.
If you go look at, his Kiwi Farms entire post about him, you can see who he is.
If you put any
person, any teenager, under the level of scrutiny that I've been put under, where I've got a forum full of people looking into every single thing that I've ever done, private police reports and stuff like that, where I crashed my car. Could you imagine if that was you, if you were exposed to that level of scrutiny? I guarantee most of you, the majority, would be in way deeper shit than me. So what did I really do? I crashed my car because I took too much baclofen? Oh, big fucking deal. Some envious, I simply made a joke about. If you put any person, you know, in my situation, any teenage male under the scrutiny of all these people on that forum, which is literally an illegal forum. It's illegal in the UK and a few other countries because of the shit that they do on there.
There's a lot that I can say about this video. First off, I think the years of using the "I'm just a teenager" defense on his parents made him do it on impulse here, despite the restraining order and the car crash happening after he was an adult. Secondly, I also really like how he's using Kiwi Farms being illegal, as he puts it here, as a gotcha, when the legality of his black market steroids, which he actively promotes and has promoted to kids, has never concerned him. To seal his fate for good, he announced that he was heading to the final destination for modern TikTok stars, Miami. There are very few fates darker than to see yourself become a Miami influencer with a rented Cybertruck. It's like a biblical punishment. Despite his many claims to not care about what online incels had to say about him, he was clearly bothered about it, to the point where he made a video borderline crying while trying to defend his recent developments.
Because that's really important, is the why. Why are you doing these things? Why are you risking your health with anabolics? Why are you, dumping, all this money that you have into peptides and nootropics and this and that and taking this risk and having this surgery planned? So that really needs to be explained and addressed, because I see a lot of craziness going around on the internet, right? It's like, wouldn't you rather just give something your all in life? Okay, so when people come on and they say, oh, Clav, you're insane for getting surgery.
Trank, Fafano, Donatellos, give us a physique and cycle update. Also, how did gear affect your sleep quality? And your androgenic signaling must be through the roof. Right now, the only thing I'm taking is Anavar pre-workout. I got the pretty bad water retention a few weeks ago, and it wasn't subsiding as quickly as I would have liked, so I'm just only doing Anavar pre-workout right now. A lot of the water retention has gone away over the last few days. Like, it is still getting better, but like I kind of have to figure out what drug was triggering the water retention. I'm not sure if it was the testosterone or the boldenone or the growth hormone. So yeah, I'm just not taking anything other than Anavar pre-workout right now, just to get the water retention subsided. Then I'm just going to go back on test, and then I'm going to add in the growth hormone after and see, what was triggering it. And how did gear affect your sleep quality? Didn't really affect anything. Lately it's been terrible because I've had the nerve pain going down my arms from the water retention and the the carpal tunnel. So like when I'm trying to sleep, I'll just get woken up with pain shooting down my arms. It's been pretty bad last couple weeks. So I'm really trying to get rid of that because it's really fucking up my sleep. I got fairly decent sleep last night, again because the water retention's been going down a bit faster. And, but yeah, still making gains. Thanks for the donation, Trank Fafano.
You're insane for doing these anabolics. Well, at least in 5 years, whether I am a Frank Tufano botch job or the next GigaChat, at least I could say that I gave something my all. While you sit there and type your comment on my Instagram reel from your wage job, at least I tried. At least I dedicated myself to the craft and was willing to do whatever it takes, right? So I really want to make this video before I go ahead and get this double jaw surgery, just to say that you guys have never done something hard in your entire life. You've never actually put in a second's effort. Now, I know I'm not the best looking guy, and sure, there's all these looks maxers that look a lot better than me, but what did they actually do? What did they actually accomplish? Because while you were out doing random bullshit in high school, I was sitting there on my computer dedicated. It is not anything other than obsession and dedication.
There's a few things to pick apart here. He opens by saying, hey, why are you dumping all of this money that you have when that's only half true? If you go back far enough, he was using the money his parents gave him to get hormones. And even recently, he
Yeah, Berserk is the best piece of fiction I've ever consumed.
was taking out loans and admitted to being in tons of debt to get his looks maxing procedures. Then there's this false dichotomy he paints where if you don't think what he's doing is good or smart, then you must be an embittered wagey, envious of his ascension. Clav simply can't fathom that his critics have a legitimate point, rationalizing that they must be poor and mentally ill. Keep in mind he's saying all of this through gritted teeth and watery eyes. Lastly, I like how his idea of putting a lot of effort in is being on the computer looking up ways to enlarge your penis when you're 16 years old, and then injecting your shaft with lemon juice. Now some people may say,
oh, but that's just what he used to do as a silly kid trying to looks max online.
But as I've already gone over, if you look for more current examples of him supposedly taking risks to make the most out of himself, you immediately stumble onto him once again admitting to being on meth.
Usually when I build stuff, I'm always so stimmed out on like, you know, an amphetamine with a methyl group. You guys know what I'm talking about?
In reference to another video where he fails to rizz up some girl, he posted, I was high on meth. That bitch is definitely subhuman. Soon after, in another clip, like the one in his car where he's desperately attempting to get himself taken
Looks like I don't know if that's makeup, but he looks fucked up when his eyes are really dark.
taken seriously by his audience, he says this.
I'm not a character. This is not some TV show, right? Where I'm coming on here trying to entertain you, mother. This is the cruel, hard world. We live in one of the worst societies ever throughout the entire history of the world. Quite literally. You have to be in the top.
Yeah, I'd be willing to collab with Clavicular. I'm not going to do meth with him, though.
Percentile to even be looked at with a shred of romance, with a shred of attraction by women in this day of age. Do you think that I'm doing this shit as a form of entertainment when I have to stay up for 3 days in a row, high on crystal meth, right? Trying to suppress my appetite and get hollow cheeks, right?
Yeah, he's addicted to meth.
Is that supposed to entertain you? The fact that I even can't, I can't even talk to people without some sort of version of benzos. I need alprazolam just to be able to have a conversation like a normal person. Is that supposed to be entertaining to you? Okay, right? So this shit is, hell for me.
You do really
Yes, the 97 Berserk anime is good.
gotta love the irony of someone talking about how evil and terrible the modern world is, while making tens of thousands of dollars a month by basically sitting on his ass, live streaming once in a while, and then ordering drugs off the internet so he can destroy his brain. The rest of the video just has a lot of him malding about how evil women only give attention to you if you get plastic surgery, and he tries to, quote, appeal to people with neurodivergence, as if the stuff he's peddling at all would help other autistic people online. I'm sure that on some level he's aware of how silly he sounds when he takes himself so seriously, especially when the rest of his content is him doing literal makeup tutorials and recommending that all men take Cialis. He rapidly alternates between posts like this and posts like this.
Would Charlie Kirk have gotten assassinated if he were Chad? Well, probably not, and here's why.
While he was definitely trying extra hard to put on a performance, according to people who actually met him in real life, not much was different. In a Reddit thread about a stream clip of his where he showed off his penis pump, one user wrote, "My cousin is good friends with him in real life. He says Clav is probably the most insecure human he's ever come across. According to him, he's constantly going manic by trying all sorts of looks maxing techniques. He only talks about anabolic steroids and plastic surgery. He also will have a meltdown if he sees the slightest imperfection and will ruin everyone's plans by refusing to leave the house because he's ugly, like a middle school girl would. Recently, he's been doing way too much melanotan too and looks terrible. Guy is mentally ill and needs psychiatric care." While this post is anonymous and could be complete bull, it sounds pretty accurate. Fortunately for Clav, he was finally moving past the need for validation from his fellow looks maxing cells, as he was now attempting to ingratiate himself with streamers. Once again, the backfire was almost instantaneous, as this clip of Aiden Ross talking about him came out.
I've never seen someone snort meth ever in real life. I literally witnessed Clav snort meth. Literally. Witnessed it. And I didn't know how to feel. I did not know how to feel. I've never seen that ever.
Aiden was just one of the many stops on his clout train. Next up was Jack Doherty, and then Sneeko, both of whom he streamed with. Besides his career developments, there were also some new things in his personal life. He had found himself another girlfriend, who happened to be 17 years old, which a lot of people took issue with. Although I want to say here definitively that given he is only 19 himself, dating a 17-year-old is—
Yeah, give me a fucking break, dude. Holy shit. Really? People are freaking out over a 19-year-old dating a 17-year-old? Are you fucking kidding me?
was not really something to be concerned with. The more concerning part is him injecting fat-dissolving peptides into her face on livestream. Going back to the LooksMax forum, it's worth noting that he's mentioned his sister, who is just 13 years old by the way, multiple times. Over a couple of different
Anadrol Skittles donate $2. My bet is on the GH. The EQ is controlling your E2 from the test. How much are you willing to compromise your health for gear, by the way? Do you think you have the genetics to win shows? Keeping the doses, compound selection mild and healthy. IFB cycles are nuts. You know, there's like a little balance and middle ground that I'm happy with. I never had water retention from the growth hormone before, so I'm not sure. I really don't know. It could have been the particular batch of GH that I was getting. I don't know, though. It's a little weird. And yeah, I know the EQ was lowering my estrogen. I've never heard of anybody really having... Could have been the combination of EQ and GH, though. Because apparently EQ does cause an increase in IGF-1. So I don't know. But yeah, I think I would probably be able to win at least an amateur show and get a pro card. And like classic physique with, you know, like fairly moderate amount of gear. So like around 500, maybe 700 milligrams a week. Thanks for the donation though, Anadrol Skittles.
Posts, he wrote this. Imagine your sister, who has the same DNA and genes as you, will never have to work a day in her life, will never understand hardship, will have every one of her desires fulfilled by cuckold men. Truly unreal. My sister is probably 0.5 PSL higher than me, which is a good amount, but not otherworldly. And her quality of life will be inestimably better, simply because of a simple difference in chromosomes. Truly unreal how genetics and sexual market value works. So Jover for me, man. My sister is a chronic mouth breather, mostly during sleep, but I already see early signs of recession and bad development. She's a foid, so she will have unlimited sexual market value regardless, but do I save her from descending, or does it not benefit me? The theory is that her marrying a rich Saudi prince or some shit like that will benefit me and allow me to exploit
I don't know how serious he's being. This seems like a bit of shit posting.
money from her. Again, almost everything Odd said here could be swept away as a joke, but it is very strange to talk about your sibling like that to strangers online. Regardless, Clav was fully cementing his reputation by audibly snorting something that is presumably coke while on stream.
Easy. Oh, buddy. Dude.
I think he realized how bad this looked, so right after, he made an attempt at expressing regret over his drug usage, calling it the worst day of his life.
You need that stuff if you want to do this consistently, but I don't, bro. I want to get off the packet. I am. It's been 12. I've been off for 12 hours, bro.
Bye. Yeah,
it's the worst day of my life, bro.
But given that he continued to hang out with the same exact people afterwards, and a clip came out of them talking about how they got their stuff from the same guy who supplied it to the actual Wolf of Wall Street, I doubt he stayed off of it for very long. For someone who takes so much pride in not living a normie life, he's doing exactly the same thing as a gaggle of other clout-chasing streamers, with the only difference being that he's convinced himself that his motives are somehow unique. Ultimately, regardless of the merit some specific looks-maxing philosophies may or may not have, I don't really need to go out on a limb to say that being on drugs all the time and doing steroids without lifting is just not the way to go. No amount of being funny online changes the fact that Clav could have had a much happier, fulfilled life, and instead he's wasting the prime of it and a huge amount of money on plastic surgeries and drugs. With that being said, I don't...
Yeah, I mean, he's probably gonna do too much meth.
I don't think he's an evil person. Steps as if he were a role model. I don't think he's intentionally misleading anybody. Based on everything I've seen so far,
I don't know if some of that's the melanotan making his skin look kind of blotchy.
He genuinely believes that he is making the best decisions. It's just that those decisions are incredibly stupid. It's worth saying that throughout everything, even Clav himself admits that ultimately, a lot of what he's doing will probably have some very negative effects on his life.
So you don't care about maximizing your lifespan as much as your day-to-day.
Yeah, I'm not a huge longevity guy.
And I think his popularity is reflective of some broader issues as well. Clav himself has stated that he grew up as a socially awkward person. He avoided speaking to anyone in class. Instead of spending his time with friends, he went on an obscure forum for improving his looks, when realistically, his looks were already fine. He doesn't need to get height surgery to go from 6'2" to 6'6". He doesn't need to get his jaw broken and spend 6 months healing to be better looking. And frankly, his physique is not good enough for someone who has been taking steroids since before he was old enough to drive. There's this idea that I've seen in comment sections everywhere. How ironic is it that that he only blew up after he ascended. To me, the truth is that he only blew up now that he's 19 years old, has been kicked out of college, and has the time to actually make content. A lot of the people claiming he's ascended will show before and after pictures, but the before is when he was like 13 years old. Are we really that surprised that
he probably would have looked like the same?
Someone's appearance changed for the better from before when they were in high school to when they're supposed to be college age? Is that really shocking to anyone? And frankly, there are plenty of good-looking people on the internet who are 19 years old. This is not a unique thing. Clav got popular for 3 reasons. One is that he's pretty funny. The second reason is the extreme measures he's taking, which is
he's just a funny, baffling person.
Shocking to anyone who hears about it and they feel like they need to hear more. And the third reason is that there are a lot of other socially awkward kids out there who believe that Clav is offering them a way out. If you listen to him, all you need to do is take 32 different drugs you order off the internet, and then your life will be complete. But the reality is that, much like Clav's Botox-filled face, his audience will probably be just as fleeting. As the novelty of watching someone talk about penis pumps and taking meth to lean max fades away, he's either going to need to hard pivot into actually talking about something that matters, or he's going to fade into irrelevance like the rest of the Red Pill guys did once their audience has realized how full of shit they were. Anyhow, I've been Turkey Tom.
Well, we'll see.
Jason, Alpha Destiny filmed a video with Clarence Kennedy and vegangains. No doubt they spent a lot of time gossiping about you like Mean Girls. You know, again, what does this say about their character that they're going to hang out with vegangains? Think about that for a moment. Think about the stuff that vegangains does do to people. Think about his stuff, and people are going to hang out with him just because he's a vegan and they're vegans. You know, they better
What exactly do I do to people?
not be claiming it's all for ethical reasons, though, because then they're associating with people who do pretty bad stuff themselves. I
Like what?
don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Like again, this person, like, Blaha has literally held people at gunpoint. Like, what did I do exactly?
Harder unless I have a safety squat bar or the hex bar. Deadlift can be done at a deficit, come to think of it, right? You have poor mobility. Well, JC, man, work on the mobility, bro. Didn't you say that you served in the Marine Corps, though? Now, if that happened and they threw you out of perfectly good tanks and airplanes and stuff all over the ground, I get it. You know, get some scar tissue and stuff. Why do they do that to you? Why do they throw you out of perfectly good vehicles? I don't get any of that. Come on, man. That's just abusing the troops. All right. Making you. I was in boot camp. Yeah, an airborne contract I left. Yeah. Telling you had perfectly good airplanes. What's going on, Con?
Hi Richard. I came out of a 5-year depression recently. I realized the things I thought were catastrophic came down to viewing the wrong perspective. Now I'm frustrated how I spent my prime years being sad and angry, and I regret that. Do you have advice?
Yeah, just stop caring and forget about it. Just like jerk off or something. That's all you gotta do. Just stop caring. You're gonna be dead anyway, and when you're dead, it's not like you'll have anything to worry about. So what does it benefit you worrying about anything when all you're trying to do is enjoy life? So stop caring. Thanks for the donation though, JP.
Honor, how you doing, man? We managed to get in here. Tornado took out all the power in my neighborhood for 3 hours, but we still have had a good day. I somehow, in spite of that, closed a client. Before the tornado hit, I had no idea there was a tornado coming. We got no warning, right? So I had a client intake after I got done training. I got my blog up, had a client intake, closed the client sale, got everything sorted in the hour call. He went ahead and paid. I went to lay down for just a bit, just needed a breather because it's been a train.
He needed to call with somebody for an hour to convince them to sign up for training? That doesn't make any sense.
I did the coffee chat, did my vlog, got a client, closed, and then the tornado hit. Like, it's storming. I'm like, oh man, it's storming really hard. It's lightning out there. Well, I was just trying to chill for a few, laying down for about 20 minutes, right? And then all of a sudden I hear my other phone in here, the alerts, and I'm like, oh God. Then I'm checking, oh, tornado warning. Everybody all.
Pookie Bear donated $2. Androgenic is a much better example of an ascension or looks max. Clav literally looks like he just hit puberty. He was never even close to ugly, meanwhile androgenic mutated from test. Well, and as far as I know, he's not on crystal meth, so, yeah. I would rather take androgenic's advice. But thanks for the donation, Pookie Bear.
On social media, tornado warning. And then I lost power for almost 3 hours. You know, I lost power for almost 3 hours, but it's still been a super productive day. In spite of that, we had a bench PR. You saw the bench. Had the coffee chat this morning, good workout, close the client sale, and I have a consultation tonight here later coming up. So it's been a productive day, man. And I still managed to get 2 clients sorted. 2 of my clients needed updates, got their sheets sorted. It's been a really productive day. You know, because that wasn't a client applied this morning. They applied during the coffee chat. And I got it sorted by the end of the day. They've already paid their first month. Like, we're good. Jason, you go for the 225 for 20 next session. Bro, Joe, I feel like I'm so close, right? Because we got 19 twice. I got 19 and barely locked the 19th threat both times. But I got 315 for 5 today. You know? I feel like we're super, super close. Like I'm right there at the cusp. Dropping it to hit that light like Bobby did.
Close to what? How long has this guy said he was going to bench 405s? Like, he's never going to do it.
Yeah, that's not right, man. Bro, TD, that's not right, man. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'll take your life, though. I'm just saying, though, bro. Right.
Blaha's a genuine fucktard. A baffling, genuine fucktard. All right. Whoa, Rob Reiner's son looks fucking crazy. Yeah, he was fucking unhinged. I'm gonna try sleeping. I have not been getting the best sleep. So I am going to try lying down and sleeping. And hopefully I don't have to wake up 30 minutes because of neuropathy. But, big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna go fart in my bed. But I should see you all tomorrow around the same time-ish. So I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks again. And sweet dreams.